Metrodome here in Minneapolis. The NFC Divisional playoff game today between the New Orleans Saints, who have lost only one game on the road this year, and the Minnesota Vikings, who have dropped only one at home. So something's got to give. As we welcome you to the Twin Cities, everyone, Dick Stockton along with Matt Millen. And the report on Ricky Williams, much conjecture as to whether he would play. Nearly 2 months removed from ankle surgery. He will see action but will not start for the Saints today. And Matt, what better way for New Orleans to get ready for this game by playing back-to-back games against the high-powered St. Louis Rams?
That's a great advantage because they've been around big plays and big offense, and they've been able to withstand it. And I think that's a major key in today's football game. They have to be able to withstand the onslaught because at one point in this game, Minnesota's going to get a bunch of points. They have to be able to overcome that. That's point one. Number two, and I think this is very important, they have to be able to handle Robert Smith with just their front seven. If they can do that, they got a shot, a great shot.
Now, the Minnesota Vikings really limp in with 3 straight losses, and they say it's a new season after having a week off. Daunte Culpepper's high ankle sprain improved, not 100%. How do they turn things around dramatically?
Well, I think one thing that they've been consistent in is right there, Randy Moss. You're going to get some big plays out of him. You're going to have the Daunte Culpepper. You're going to have some plays. But to me, it's about their defense today. If they sit back and play that vanilla defense, they're going to get their rear ends kicked. They're going to have to spice it up a little bit. And they're going to have to take some chances and put pressure on Aaron Brooks, force him to have to make decisions. If that's done and they get it done the right way, they have the best shot.
Well, the Saints will not have Joe Horn, their top receiver. He is inactive. The Vikings and the Saints, and the winner will move on to the NFC Championship game next week. And back here in Minneapolis for the NFC Divisional playoff game, the first of 4 this weekend in the NFL. And for the last word before kickoff, let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Oh, Jake, those poor Saints defensive backs, 3 weeks in a row now, they've had their hands full with some pretty spectacular receivers. Today, no exception. I talked to cornerback Alex Molden about his assignment today in covering Randy Moss. He says the key is to not let Moss get behind him or to the outside. When I asked Randy to give me his opinion of the Saints corners, he said this: they are below average and they can't stop me. Back to you.
Pam, no shortage of inflamed remarks, and there is Jim Haslett in his first year turning a 3-13 team around and in the second round of the playoffs.
I think that guy has done a fantastic job because what he's done, Dick, is he has changed an attitude and a belief. They believe in him and they believe in what they're doing, and that's the hardest thing you have to do.
And Denny Green, and he has been here before, just 2 years ago, reaching the NFC Championship game, but a 3-7 playoff record in this, his 9th year. The Saints have won the toss and will get the ball first. Mitch Berger, who has been bothered by a groin pull, will kick off for the Vikings. And Fred McAfee is back deep for the Saints. From the 1-yard line, Fred McAfee with a big burst gets it out to the 32-yard line, where New Orleans will take over. So the unflappable second-year quarterback Aaron Brooks and the offensive line, William Rofe going to the Pro Bowl with Wally Williams, Jerry Fontenot, Chris Naoli, and Kyle Turley. A good offensive line. 3 former Vikings amongst the backs and receivers with Terry Allen, Jake Reed, and Andrew Glover. And Joe Horn out of action, so Jake Reed getting the start today. Aaron Brooks, 4-2 since taking over for Jeff Blake at quarterback. From the 32-yard line, and the handoff is to Terry Allen, and maybe a yard, that's all. Defensively for the Vikings, and the onus is on them today, no question about it. To Lance Sawyer, Tony Williams, Chris Hovan, an outstanding rookie, and the veteran John Randall, who will move around. Ed McDaniel, Kylie Wong, and Dwayne Rudd are the linebackers. Robert Tate, Waswa Serwanga starting his 2nd game at cornerback. Robert Griffith and Orlando Thomas, the hard-hitting safeties. Second down and 9. Brooks getting it out, and the pass is caught by Willie Jackson. But Jackson, picking up only 3 yards, will bring up 3rd and long with Robert Tate on the coverage.
Well, the X factor with this New Orleans Saints offense is the quarterback, Aaron Brooks. Aaron Brooks at times has flashed. He's looked brilliant. And he's made big plays with his arm. He's made big plays with his feet. And really, that's the part that you have to be able to control if you're going to be this Minnesota Vikings defense. You have to be able to handle his ability to move.
Ricky Williams sitting it out thus far. Chad Morton is the running back. Keith Poole in motion out of the shotgun on 3rd and 5. And the pass thrown behind Poole, bringing up 4th down. So the Viking defense passes its first test.
Well, the Viking defense did what they had to do, but really that test they passed was courtesy of Aaron Brooks. He just had a little bit too much and was behind. Certainly you can see the plan, and the one thing you have to remember about this New Orleans Saints team is their plan will not change. They will be the same all the way through.
Toby Goen will punt for the Saints. It's end over end and a short kick. Rookie Troy Walters on the return, cutting upfield, and he gets up to the 36-yard line. So Daunte Culpepper quarterbacking for the Vikings. Up front, Todd Stussy, Corbin Lucina, Matt Burke. He's headed for the Pro Bowl with David Dixon and Corey Stringer, who's coming back from a hyperextended knee. Robert Smith, second leading rusher in the NFL. Flying saucer with Moss and Carter, the weapons outside, and the tight end, Johnny McWilliams. And there is the right ankle, the molded boot worn by Daunte Culpepper from the high ankle sprain. 36-yard line with the drop back pass, first down. Carter makes the reception. Close to the first down, maybe shy by less than a yard. And they have to separate Carter from Fred Thomas.
Well, the whole thing, though, today is going to be the offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings and whether or not they can handle the pressure with the front four of New Orleans. I mean, very first play, you're going to put a little bit of pressure on that ankle. And what you want to try to do is make him move back there and put more pressure on that ankle and see if that boot really works or not.
2nd and 1 on the 45. And the pitch going to Robert Smith, his first carry of the game, and Smith will get the first down. Close to midfield, Kevin Mathis coming up from the secondary to make the tackle. Saints defense, one of the strongest in the league with Johnson, Glover, Hand, and rookie Darren Howard. 3 of them have 10 sacks or more. Mark Fields, Darren Smith, and Keith Mitchell, the linebackers, and the secondary, Kevin Mathis and Alex Molden at cornerback, Sammy Knight, who leads the club in interceptions, and Darren Perry. Crowd silences when the Vikings have the ball. Almost on cue. First down pass to Randy Moss, and Randy Moss will score for Minnesota.
Here's the onslaught we talked about, Dick.
Didn't take long.
And that really wasn't on the corner. That was on Darren Perry, the safety. He took a bad angle and got too high on top of him. And this is the factor we talked about with Randy Moss. The corner's job at this point is you look at Thomas, get your hands, force him wide. He knows there's help sitting over the top. The problem was the help got over this way, this area too far, too fast, and created an inside move, which he took advantage of.
53-yard scoring strike early, and Gary Anderson for the extra point, and the penalty markers are down. Daunte Culpepper, who tied with Peyton Manning for the most touchdown passes in the regular season with 33. Walt Coleman, the official for this playoff game.
Well, you know what, Randy Moss, you see the false start against this Minnesota Viking team. What Randy Moss told our Pam Oliver before the game, you know, he's right. And I don't think that's so much as it is of bravado as it is confidence. Because when he breaks down what's on the tape across there, they can't compete with his ability. And so Jim Haslett knows that, so he has to help him. The problem is when your help is not help, then you have a major problem. And Perry got over too far, and you took advantage of it.
So a worst-case scenario for the Saints, but for the Minnesota Vikings, what a way to start a game when you have the week off and coming off 3 straight losses. So the 5-yard penalty, and Gary Anderson's extra point from 25 yards is good. 7-0 Vikings.
Dick, the Vikings have started their dancing, and it's something they can't keep going. If you're a Saint fan, they keep dancing, you're in trouble.
This Fox NFC Divisional Playoff game is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl.
Took only 3 plays for the Minnesota Vikings to strike and take a 7-0 lead over the New Orleans Saints. So if there is any kind of urgency or pressure on the Saints on the road in this playoff game, it has just been increased. As Jim Haslett talking to Fred Thomas.
You know, they knew that they have this big play striking ability. That was understood. To me, when I looked at this game, and I said it this week, the longer this game stays close, that's an advantage for New Orleans. If New Orleans falls behind early, like to the middle of the second quarter, that's the advantage for the Minnesota Vikings.
Randy Moss, only 4 games during the regular season in which he did not catch a touchdown pass this year. Mitch Berger kicking off for the second time. And about the same place for Fred McAfee to return, the 1-yard line. And McAfee gets hit inside the 20 and won't get to the 20-yard line. And it was Mo Williams who led the charge.
I want to show you the touchdown, and I want you to keep some things in mind. This cover 2 corner, he's got to get a jam and then roll this way. Force him to the outside, knowing your safety's coming over. Here's the mistake right there. See, he got head up. Once he became head up, then he had a 2-way go. And you're going to watch Perry as he comes over the top. See, right, he's going to show up here. See, when he gets that point, you give him a way here and a way here. He stopped his feet. It was done. He took it to the house.
Randy Moss, as you mentioned, backing up his words to Pam Oliver before the kickoff. So the Saints, as the crowd level increases, start from the 20-yard line. Brooks will throw. He got hit, lets it go downfield to Robert Wilson, and a flag goes down. On the coverage was Waswa Serwanga, who started his first game in the season finale, and he'll be guilty of pass interference, and the Saints will get the ball in Viking territory.
Well, you better believe that the New Orleans Saints know where Serwanga is, and they're going to be on him all day. And if you're going to give him this,
interference, 29, defense, first down.
just ran right by, never got his hands on him. Wilson runs right by him, and actually that's not a bad penalty, because if he makes this catch, it might be 6. They are going to go after Serwanga all day long. And it doesn't matter that you don't have the big names and receivers. They still have abilities you still have to play, and they like their matchups.
Leading the league in pass interference penalties are the Vikings. First down on the 40 of the Vikings. Play action for Aaron Brooks. Stepping up and stepping away. And Aaron Brooks will go out of bounds after picking up about 3, chased by Dwayne Rudd.
Well, you had some pretty good coverage down the field that he had to be able to look at. And again, the safeties are sitting back. You're going to watch this whole thing. Watch Wilson going down to the outside, and Jackson, safety sitting right over the top. The backer undercuts him. Then on the backside, it's with Jake Reed. Again, he's going to turn it back. Keep in mind, as this happening, on the other side, Brooks is rolling out. He has nowhere to throw the football.
And Ricky Williams making his first appearance. He gained 1,000 yards in 10 games before suffering a broken ankle. 2nd and 8 on the 38-yard line, and gets the carry. So getting into it, maybe 10 plays, maybe a little more, but Ricky Williams back for the playoff game, and Fernando Smith, who was just signed at the end of the year, making the stop.
Minnesota Vikings, if they can handle this New Orleans Saint offense minus the big plays, because they know there's going to be some things. You're already seeing it with Brooks getting outside and buying time and creating some space. If they can handle that in the secondary, they like their chances.
So Williams goes out. Terry Allen is in. 3rd and 6. And we'll have a delay of the game penalty. Losing it is Brooks as Robert Tate comes in. And you saw the play clock run down. And it appeared as if the Saints did not get it off in time.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5 yards, still third down.
I think the other thing that you're going to notice is Emmett Thomas, the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, he's not playing his same vanilla like we watched in practice the other day. He's going to give him some looks. He's going to bring some pressure. You know, and I had that feeling just looking at him that he's going to force that young quarterback to have to make quick decisions.
Emmett Thomas, the veteran defensive coordinator, and that's what happens when you have a week off. And the Vikings really concentrated on playing the Saints. 3rd and 11 now at the 41 of Minnesota. Out of the shotgun is Brooks, getting a pass rush again. Brooks going way back and completing to Jake Reed, and the former Minnesota Viking makes the catch, and that will be a first down. So a clutch throw and a catch by Jake Reed.
But the whole thing was made possible by the feet of Aaron Brooks. And because he was able to buy some time and roll that way, he can make this play happen. He's going to look downfield. There's nothing there. He's going to feel some pressure. And now, see, this is what you can't teach. He gets outside, and there's Jake Reed. He bails him out, and you get a big first down.
Reed injured most of the year, but now in a starting role with Joe Horn out of action with a hairline fracture. So a first down at the 28-yard line, and the pass drilled to the 10-yard line, intended for Willie Jackson and broken up by Waswa Surwanga. So he makes the play on that occasion.
Well, that's because the throw wasn't that good, because the break underneath was fine and he had body position, but the ball was a little bit behind him. And that talks a little bit about the inconsistency of where he's at. He's only, you know, he's a young kid, and he's done remarkably well for the limited experience he's had. He's going to make mistakes, but he's also going to make big plays, like you said.
Came over from Green Bay in a trade in July. And those were his regular season numbers. 2nd down and 10. And there is Brooks completing to Andrew Glover, the other ex-Viking, and Glover making the reception. It'll be 3rd down and about 5 coming up now as Surwanga again on the coverage.
Looking at New Orleans' offensive line, there's a lot of talk about it being, you know, one of the best in all the things that it does, and it has some holes, though. It's not a group that's dominant in the run game. They don't get a lot of push. Willie Rofe, I think, is a fantastic player. Turley has to get better in the run game. He's a good pass protector. But the inside 3, that's the key. And that's where you get John Randall, Hovan working in there, and that makes the difference. It could be the difference maker.
3rd and 5, and the pass caught by Willie Jackson. And Jackson gets out of bounds, and the Saints picking their way, and they get another first down. So it was all set up on the pass interference call, a 9-yard pickup.
It's patience. It's just picking it down there with patience and taking again what they give you. And when they do, if you're going to give a cushion, just throw the ball out there. And you're betting that your people can beat their people. It's very simple.
So Ricky Williams first was doubtful, then questionable as the week wore on. He is in the lineup. First down at the 14 of the Vikings. 7-0 Minnesota leading halfway through this first quarter, and Ricky Williams, not much there, might have lost a yard, and Ed McDaniel making the tackle. And this is really the first time that Aaron Brooks has handed off to Ricky Williams, who was used to Jeff Blake earlier in the year.
Just watching Ricky Williams and watching him in the pregame, he's going side to side. He limped a little bit. He didn't have the sharpness. When he went straight ahead, he was fine. And I think because of that, when you watch him here, Dick, I would expect that they'll keep him going vertically between the tackles.
And you wonder what they expect from Williams after being out that long.
You never know. I mean, sometimes a guy just raises his game, and he shouldn't, but he does.
Going in motion on 2nd and 11, and Aaron Brooks drilling it, and the pass is knocked down. Glover was the intended receiver, but Dwayne Rudd was downfield step for step.
Watching Dwayne Rudd, he has great speed, but he also has a big mouth, and he needs to keep it shut. You don't, after the play, you don't walk over to the guy and start yapping. You do your job, you walk back to the huddle. Don't turn into a big mouth. This guy has fantastic abilities, and you can see it right there. The play's made, you beat Club, okay, go back to the huddle, no problem. You don't get up, you turn around, you talk, and start yakking at him.
He caught your attention with that move.
I hate that. Just keep your mouth shut and play the game.
Four wide receivers, third down and 11 from the 15, and the pass incomplete, intended for Robert Wilson, and that time it was Thomas on the coverage. So the Vikings finally hold, and the Saints send in their field goal team. And Doug Bryan, who has missed 6 this year, his longest was his first field goal of the season from 48 yards, but he has been effective lately with 10 in a row, including a 33-yarder against the Rams in the wild card game. This will be another 33-yard attempt. And Bryan's kick is perfect. So the Saints getting advantage of a pass interference call against the Vikings and get on the scoreboard, and it's now 7-3 in favor of Minnesota. So the Saints score and trail the Vikings 7-3 right now. Minnesota, as you look at the scoring drive, losing only one road game all year, and that was in the week 3 against Seattle when they lost 20-10. People will say the Saints didn't play many winning teams on the road, but they did beat St. Louis on the road back in mid-November. Kickoff by Goen, and Troy Walters returning for the Vikings. Walters, who goes at 5'7", takes it out to the 27-yard line when Randy Moss, Daunte, Culpepper and company go to work again. Getting closer in just 6 weeks. It's the dawning of a whole new era in motorsports as the Daytona 500 and NASCAR come to Fox. See every pit stop, lap, and checkered flag as Fox brings you the 43rd running of the Daytona 500 like you've never seen it before. Fox Sports, the new home of NASCAR.
There's a NASCAR guy, and it's hard because this whole place here is purple. Everybody's in purple, but you got the Lone Ranger right there. He knows his NASCAR.
There might be a little purple on that T-shirt. Some colors. Capacity crowd here, and it was interesting as you look at the ball control favoring New Orleans thus far. The Vikings in a loud stadium had urged the fans to really keep quiet when they had the ball, and they're following cue. First down at the 28. Culpepper, as you can hear, a pin drop. Pass to Randy Moss is low on a crossing pattern, bringing up second down. And, as we said, Denny Green in his 9th year, but he has had a horde of different quarterbacks in the playoffs, starting with Sean Salisbury, Jim McMahon, Warren Moon, Brad Johnson, Randall Cunningham with 2 assignments in 2 years in the last year. Jeff George.
You can see all those names, but I'm going to tell you something right now. Denny Green is going to have this guy here for a long time.
Second and 10 at the 28. Here's Robert Smith. He'll be a barometer, and of course running behind the man you were talking about on the right side of that line, gains 3.
Yeah, and then of course you're going to talk about that same defensive front as well, and that's a pretty tough defensive front. And you got Howie Long's tough guy in there, Norman Hand, and he makes a big difference. He makes a big difference in the way Leroy Glover can play, and also Joe Johnson on the other side. He handles a lot of things on the inside.
Big free agent pickup from San Diego. This team did a tremendous job of rebuilding. They show a 3-man front on 3rd down and 7. Culpepper standing up against the rush, trying to run for the first down, and he'll get it. Gets beyond the 40-yard line, so a lot of defensive backs out there for the Saints, and Culpepper runs for the first down.
Well, the thoughts are simple there. We're going to see exactly what that ankle can do and how much confidence he has on it, and this is the first of the answers. There's coverage. He can't go where he wants to go, but those feet will take him where he can't be accounted for. And once you get outside the pocket and the defenders are split, you just take advantage.
He broke Fran Tarkenton, Mr. Scrambler's record for most rushes by a quarterback this year by a huge margin. First down and 10, and here is Robert Smith trying to wend his way up the middle, and he gets maybe 2.
This is one of the keys of this game we talked about earlier. See these 2 up here? Once you have these 2, they can't support with run down here. That means you have 7 people in this box. If they can handle Robert Smith with those 7 people, you can afford then coverage on the outside with Moss. Now that doesn't help you if you take bad angles. Moss runs right by it, but it gives you the best chance, and Ron Zook's plan is going to stay that way.
2nd and 8 on the Viking 43. Here is Culpepper going up the middle, and it's Smith out of the backfield. So on a play action to call to Robert Smith. Smith was wide open, and he ran for 20 yards. Darren Perry a tackle into St. territory.
It's not going to happen if he doesn't have any time to throw. And so you go with a little bit of play action. Look at this. Nothing around him. Nothing around him there. You just take the check down underneath. You've already cleared people out with your other receivers. And then this, all that is, Dick, is a long handoff. You just give that long handoff, little dump underneath, 20 yards, you'll take it.
Third leading receiver for the Vikes this year with Robert Smith. So a first down at the 37 of the Saints. Here is Smith, and not much there as he picks up 2 yards. Joe Johnson making the tackle, who is named the NFL's comeback player of the year. And with all of the injuries and surgery he had, Joe Johnson with a tremendous year. He said it's been a dream to be in the playoffs.
And he's not even where he's going to be. He still is going to get a little bit quicker. And what I was talking to him about, he'll get into a guy in a move, but it's the second move that separated him earlier, and that's what hasn't come back yet. Once he gets to the point where he can counter that first thing, that's when Joe Johnson will be all the way back.
2nd down and 8 at the Saints 35-yard line with under 4.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Robert Smith, and he's hit immediately by Darren Howard, the rookie from Kansas State, who has played very well up front for the Saints. No gain on the play. So Smith really has not gotten unleashed as a runner as of yet.
Well, you know, it's another interesting thing when you look at this offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings. They have some big people, big size, little undersized at the left guard, but they don't really push anybody off the ball. I mean, they just kind of get into people and try to shield you. And it's rare in this league that you get somebody who really comes off and drives you. This group doesn't do it.
Minnesota with the edge in total yards, leading 7-3 in the game. 3rd down and 8. Daunte Culpepper firing for Carter, who makes a great catch and is down to the 1-yard line. Maybe no better hands in the league than Chris Carter. Alex Molden made the tackle and a 34-yard pickup to the 1.
Well, Molden did exactly what he wanted to do, as he told Pam Oliver, stay outside. But what he couldn't account for as he's in that position is an underthrown ball. This is really tough to defend against. The ball's thrown a little bit underneath, and Carter can make the adjustment because Molden's hanging to the outside. And, of course, he gets the first down.
You sure about that with the way Chris Carter indicated that?
Just a hunch.
1st and goal at the 1-yard line. And flags are down. And let's see whether the Saints were drawn offsides.
Prior to the snap, false start.
And a false start.
Offense.
Corey Stringer, the right tackle.
First down.
It's not good when you're trying to handle everybody in the front 7, up front with the running game in 7, and you have your coverage because you want to take away big plays. And you have your coverage and your plans working, and they still beat you. That's not a good sign.
Well, the Vikings had 200 yards and penalties more than the opposition this year, and that sets the ball back to the 6-yard line. Still 1st and goal. And here is Robert Smith, and he will lose maybe a yard on the play. So right now the Saints have Smith's number. Darren Perry came in and made the tackle on the play, bringing up 2nd and goal.
Darren Perry, they decide to go ahead and take a shot with him, and you're going to watch him. He's just going to see it and attack it. Very nicely done to the outside. You take your run key as a safety generally off the tackle, and once it's declared, once that run is declared, then you have to really be aggressive.
So Carter goes to the right, and Randy Moss to the left on 2nd and goal. And the fade to Moss, can't hold on. And on the coverage, Kevin Mathis, along with Knight on the play.
He's feeling good about himself, Dick. But he shouldn't feel too good so long because they're going to come right back to that. What Kevin Mathis is scrappy, and he'll play you that way, and he's going to play his help. That's what he's doing. Got his hand on him. So Randy Moss plays receiver like an NBA rebounder. He uses his body as good or better than anybody I've seen. And
And I don't know how he does it. It's kind of subtle. He'll go up, and he'll use his hips. He uses his legs. He doesn't push that much, but he comes down with the ball.
We're seeing body language on both teams on almost every play in this one. 3rd and goal from the 5. And here is Culpepper getting time. Still getting time. And now chase back to the 20-yard line. Culpepper will run it, fake the throw, and toss it incomplete. And that'll bring up 4th down. Chris Carter was the man he wanted to go to, and Sammy Knight was in his way, and there is a penalty marker down in the end zone.
Boy, that was really good discipline by the New Orleans Saint defenders. There was a lot of time to lose your coverage, but they did what's called plastering. They plastered the receivers.
And it will go against the Vikings.
In fact, they plastered so well, they got themselves an offensive pass interference.
So this is a Viking team had 1st and goal at the 1, and now they are forced to send on Gary Anderson and their field goal team.
That was big. That was really big by New Orleans defense. It was that's all discipline, Dick. That means good coaching.
You notice we whisper when the Vikings have the ball. We raise our voices otherwise.
Pass interference, number 63. The offense had penalties decline. 4th down.
Corbin Lucina gets his name mentioned for an offensive pass interference call.
What's he going to do? Push off inside? He's a lineman, for goodness sakes. He's going, who, me? What did I do?
So Gary Anderson is aboard to try to give the Vikings a 7-point lead once again. 41-year-old native of South Africa, and the 24-yard field goal is good. So the Vikings didn't get the touchdown, they get 3.
Right there is what they're going to call offensive pass interference. Looks to me like you're pushing it back.
NFC Divisional Playoff Game is brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By Phillips, technology that's making life better all the time. By UPS, moving at the speed of business. And by Charles Schwab. When we created a smarter kind of investment firm, we created a smarter kind of investor.
Tubing, that's a blast. And that's a blast right there right now, because he's blasting some people in the offensive line. That's Mike Tice, the offensive line coach. And he's a little bit fired up. And he's giving him a blast because you don't get to the 1-yard line and get 3 points.
Especially if you're the Vikings, who are used to scoring points in bunches. Kickoff, Fred McAfee out of the end zone. And McAfee out to the 17. Good coverage by the Vikings special teams. And that's no surprise. And Chris Walsh, who's been doing it for many years, on the play. We'll be right back.
January 12th.
Daunte Culpepper on that 3rd and goal as he's dropping back and looking. Coverage takes him away. First read. Now he knows he has to get out. And once he starts moving, you have to find a receiver quick. So defensively, you jump your coverage and you call what's called plastering. And you stay on it. Chris Carter is seemingly open at this point, but that's right in transition when Culpepper had to take off. And then Hatchett throws the guy by and goes to the other side. But as he thinks he's open, that's when Culpepper's to the left side and, of course, tries to make a play at the end. And all of that, all the elements involved in good pass coverage. They stayed with it, and he couldn't find him, Dick, when the opportunity availed itself to the open receiver.
12 plays, only 3 points after getting 1st and goal at the 1-yard line, and that's got to be more than deflating for the Minnesota Vikings, who lead this game by a score of 10-3.
But they're moving the ball, and that's important because I think sometimes their sideline gets a little impatient. You heard Howie Long talking about that in the pregame show. They get impatient when they don't move the football.
From the 18-yard line, Aaron Brooks with less than a minute and a half in the first quarter with the short drop looking one way and swings it out to Chad Morton, who breaks 1 tackle. And Morton picking up a couple of yards before he's tackled by Kylie Wong. Well, the divisional playoff drama continues tomorrow.
As they have seen in week 2 and 9. You'll see a better team. You'll see a more mature Donovan McNabb. And I think that one's going to be a terrific game.
Ricky Williams in the lineup. Play action on 2nd down and 8. Aaron Brooks with the pass, and it's caught by Jake Reed. So Reed coming back to Minnesota, and Tate on the tackle after a 16-yard gain.
That was all about protection. And you mentioned Ricky Williams coming in, and he's going to have to account for the safety to the outside. Now look at this. Everything right there, nice. Just step and throw. And because you have that time, you can let things develop. And Jake Reed abuses Tate on the outside.
It's amazing how the Saints have lost all of their starting skilled people and continue to march on. And here is Ricky Williams marching on, and certainly his best run of the game, picking up about 7 before Ed McDaniel brings him down.
Well,
and time running out as the Vikings striking first, the Saints getting the field goal before the 3-pointer by Anderson. And that is the end of the first quarter. With the score, the Vikings 10, the Saints 3. This Fox NFL special will continue after these messages. We start the second quarter and a look back as we see the New Orleans Saints rise from 3-13 into the divisional playoffs, and it did not start off that pleasant for the Saints, who lost 3 of their first 4 games. But Ricky Williams delivering big time. He gained 1,000 yards in the first 10 games before going out with injury. Jeff Blake as well, and all kinds of injuries. But Aaron Brooks coming in, and good reason for Tom Benson to dance again. And Jim Haslett, Saints 1 game away from an NFC championship berth.
I think this man's the key. I think his attitude in how he approached the game, how he changed the attitude down there that had him believing, but most importantly is under the adversity. When they lost people, he never lost focus. He just took the next guy and put him in there and said, guess what? It's your turn. We're going to coach you up and you play. And Chad Morton came through, and Aaron Brooks came through, and there's a whole slew of people, and he expected them to play well, and they did. To me, that's about attitude.
They used a running back by committee when Ricky Williams went out, and then Terry Allen, who had been retired, was signed. Don't forget Cam Cleland, the tight end, went out in the preseason, and Andrew Glover came in. As you look at the Saints, who are 2-to-1 ratio to the pass, we start the second quarter. Dick Stockton, Matt Millen, and Pam Oliver. It'll be 2nd and 3 for New Orleans. And here is Ricky Williams with the forward charge and close to the first down, right near the sticks.
It's no surprise that when this Saint team wants to run the football and play power football, that it's going to be to the left side and Willie Roaf. You know, a lot of people have been talking about Willie Roaf for, for his whole career. And I've always kind of, I've liked what he's done, but I haven't been the biggest fan until this season. This season, Willie Roaf's game's really taken off. He's gotten very physical, and he's finishing his blocks, which I didn't see him consistently do earlier.
3rd down and 1 from the Saint 45. And the first back through the fake, and Aaron Brooks trying to run forward and makes the first down. Aaron Brooks with a great handoff fake. And Aaron Brooks doing it with his feet.
Yeah, and he needs a little help from his friends. And this is Willie Roaf, all-pro and all-pro with John Randall. And you see what you saw right there? That was called recovery. See, John Randall got into his chest and had him going. But because of his athletic ability, he could redirect and sink his hips down and take care of it. And then on the other side, Aaron Brooks, I like the call because it gave him an option. If it wasn't there, you use your feet, you still get it.
Saints depending on ball control to keep the ball away from the Viking offense. Get a new set of downs on the 47. Willie Jackson in motion. And Brooks going deep downfield and in essence threw the ball away. He wanted to go to Jake Reed, but he was well covered at the 30.
Well, we spoke at the beginning of this game about what Emmett Thomas would do defensively and how he'd spice it up a little bit. They weren't going to sit back. What he's doing now is he's mixing things up. And so to counter and to see what Emmett Thomas, as you see him right there, the defensive coordinator, what he's doing is you start using motion and you start sending people out. Basically, they become probes. And you see what's happening in front of you, and that's the read that the quarterback takes off of the movement.
Mike McCarthy, who really had an eye on Aaron Brooks when they were both at Green Bay. 2nd and 10 out of the shotgun, inside handoff to Chad Morton. And the rookie from Southern California can get only a pair of yards as John Randall and Talance Sawyer squeeze him in the middle.
You have two kind of look-alike guys here, not so much with the face paint. John Randall has a tremendous motor. Leroy Glover on the other side, same thing. And if you'd watch them, their mannerisms, the way they approach things, the way they play all the time, they're very, very similar. Randall sometimes has been trying to go outside too much. So what they've done is they put him on the inside and let him work there. Here he is right there inside.
3rd down and 7 near midfield. Aaron Brooks stepping up and trying to run away from Robert Griffith, and the pass is ruled incomplete. Robert Wilson juggled it, could not maintain control. He had it in his hands after Brooks got away from the pressure of Robert Griffith.
Pressure. Griffith drilled him. Watch this. Boink. Went for the kill shot, didn't wrap his arms, and so he gave him an opportunity to make this play, and this should be a catch. That's got to be a catch. That's just couldn't quite find the handle.
Toby Goen will be kicking, trying to keep it in play, and the fair catch by Troy Walters inside the 15-yard line. So the Vikings lead by a touchdown, and John Randall, who had an off year for him, licking his chops coming after New Orleans.
#1 digital satellite entertainment provider.
The Saints story is how people have picked up for the likes of quarterback Jeff Blake, who suffered a broken foot in mid-November. And there is Joe Horn, who led the team with a club record 94 catches this year, in Camp Cleveland, also down there, the tight end. The Vikings will begin from the 14-yard line, and Robert Smith is going to lose a yard. And once again, it was Norman Hand, the great run stopper.
Well, you heard Marshall Faulk talking about Norman Hand and the importance to the Saint defense and how he messes things up. He's also Howie Long's tough guy. And see what he does there. They're trying to cut him. It's not working because he has great takeoff. He's a big man, and he has a really good first step. He can run pretty well down the line of scrimmage.
Robert Smith has carried 7 times for 9 yards. Despite the fact the Vikings lead, he hasn't gotten going yet. 2nd down and 11. Culpepper back to the 5-yard line, fires to Carter, and cannot make the catch. Incomplete.
Well, because of Norman Hand and what he can do inside, that means you have Leroy Glover on the other side, but you can't ignore him. And you tell me if they're ignoring him right here. It's Corey Stringer and David Dixon. That's, that's about 700 pounds. You got 700 pounds eyeballing you. And it really doesn't matter for Glover because he's one of those players whose motor never stops. And he's as good as there is in this league at getting off of blocks. You can block him, but he doesn't stay blocked long. I think that's a tremendous quality.
All 4 are force up there, including Willie Whitehead, who comes in as well. Bringing up 3rd down and 11. Saints trying to keep the Vikings hemmed in. Culpepper back, and his pass trying again to go to a Carter, incomplete, and Molden on the coverage. So it's 4th down, and not only do the Saints get the Vikings to go 3 and out, but they should get good field position.
This is it, though, Dick. Now this is the transition, and this is a crucial time right now for the New Orleans Saints, because we talked about that onslaught. They have not been good in the 2nd quarter in terms of keeping teams held down. They need to get some points here and put it back on the Vikings and create doubt in the sideline of that in the offense.
Vince Berger inside his 5 gets off a beauty, and Chad Morton backing up inside the 35-yard line. Morton working his way, trying to get outside, but cannot. But again, the Saints will get good field position close to midfield. A 54-yard punt that time by Vince Berger. And we'll be right back.
The strength of the team, and Howie Long, our birthday boy back in the studio, said it on the pregame show, and he was right on the money. The strength of this team is the fact that their offensive and defensive lines in combination are probably the strongest in the league. And he's right on the money, because this group here, although they're not a great run blocking team, they have been protecting Aaron Brooks pretty well. The only time there's been pressure is when they've brought the extra guy. Jack Henry, the offensive line coach, who's really done a pretty good job of putting them together.
Saints with their best starting field position of the game, their own 46-yard line. Ricky Williams must be feeling a lot better than expected, because he has seen a lot more action than anticipated. He is in the backfield now.
Safety down.
And Williams getting the call, but can't do anything against the likes of Ed McDaniel, and then Robert Griffith coming up. No gain for Ricky Williams. Well, Fox tonight, catch back-to-back episodes of Cops, and then don't miss an all-new America's Most Wanted.
3 deep people, and you bring that extra safety down, and it gives you some advantages.
Chad Morton is the back, 2nd and 8-yard line, and the screen pass to Chad Morton, and Morton getting some running room. There's a flag down, and Morton will have the first down unless the penalty is against New Orleans.
No, it's on Wally Williams. It wasn't necessarily a hold. Maybe hog tie is a better term.
Well, they announce hog tie.
Yes, they should, because it was a hog and he tied him up.
Holding 63. Offense 10 yards. Repeat, 2nd down.
Watch Robert Tate. He's going to try to make a miss to the inside. You can't get him. Sometimes you just got to, by any means necessary, you get him down. And he caught him. That was good movement by Tate to make a miss.
So what was the best starting field position for the Saints? Turns back to just a 2nd and long at the 37-yard line.
But see, now, Dick, offensive, you can anticipate some things. You can anticipate that the safeties are going to be deep. You're going to have to throw against the zone now.
2nd and 20.
That's exactly what you're getting.
And Aaron Brooks facing the crowd and the clock winding down, and now calls a timeout. Couldn't get the play off and couldn't get the word out fast enough. So the first timeout of the game by the Saints. It will return to Minneapolis in just a moment.
We can expect in the coming months is Director of Product Development, Paul Noon.
Got it. Nortown Networks is...
Watch the eyes of Dwayne Rudd. And what he's doing is he's eyeballing Aaron Brooks, and he's mirroring and shadowing him. But he also knows that behind him is a zone. So he's going to give him one look, and then he's going to get out of it. It's all a part of, knowing your scheme and knowing what you're doing and how you play. Rudd has fantastic abilities. He really, really runs well, and he uses it to his advantage.
And you'd have to say the Viking defense has looked different than they did during the regular
season. Yes, yeah, it's just what we saw in practice this week, Dick, and they're implementing it, and they're using it properly. They're being more aggressive. And, when you hear that term, more aggressive, it's all relative to what you've been. So if you don't blitz at all, if you blitz 3 times, you're more aggressive.
Crowd's aggressive right now.
Holy smokes, deafening.
2nd and 20. Four wide receivers. Aaron Brooks again out of the shotgun following the timeout, and the pass batted down by John Burrow, trying to get it to Chad Morton on the outside.
Remember, we spoke about when you're in this situation, you can anticipate some things in coverage. But the problem is you can anticipate it, but when they're dropping that many people back, it's hard to throw into it. And one of the ways you combat that is to just drop it off underneath, and maybe Morton can make a play. Burrow understood that, knocked it down.
Here's Orlando Thomas, who once thought he would be drafted by the Saints.
See, here's all your coverage. Guys are deep. They're not going to let it happen. You have your zone underneath.
3rd and 20, and going underneath to Chad Morton, and Morton trying to get something, and gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and that's all, with Sawanga making the tackle, bringing up 4th down. So the good field position by the Saints, set up by their defense, goes for naught, and New Orleans will have to kick it away.
Good defense, good plan.
Big part of that plan is Robert Griffin.
He's the heart and soul of that D. John Randall does what he does up front, but this guy here, he's got the respect of everybody on that team because he just will knock you out.
Toby going. Kicking to Troy Walters, and the fair catch at the 19-yard line. 10-3 the score following the 34-yard kick. It's been a defensive game. Vikings are leading, and Dennis Green going out on a limb perhaps and going with Daunte Culpepper, and his era began the season. And Dennis Green has been there before and saw his team recover from their injuries during the bye week, and it's a new season in his eyes. First down for the Vikings on the 19, leading 7-3. Play action for Culpepper. Steps up, and he finds Kleinsasser. Jim Kleinsasser, the fullback, involved in his first play of the game, and he gets the first down to the 30.
Remember, I mentioned earlier about this time period. You can see right here. The second period has not been kind to the New Orleans Saints. For some reason, they just give up a lot of points. And that's why that's part of that onslaught we talked about. Right now, they're in good shape. They're down by 1 score. They have to be able to hold them right here. And conversely, the Vikings have to be able to throw some points on the board to kind of open this up a little bit.
Well, the Saints missed an opportunity the last time they had the ball. First down, and here is Robert Smith with a hole, and it closes up in a hurry. And a tackle made by Norman Hand after a gain of 3. So Smith has gained only 12 yards in 8 carries thus far.
And the good news for the Saints is they're doing it with just 7, which allows them to have coverage down the field. And then again, this goes back to, you know, staying committed to the running game. And you have to be patient if you're this Minnesota Viking team. At times, as you've heard in our pregame show, they will lose their patience in the running game.
Robert Smith with 67, 26, and 37 yards in those last 3 defeats. Second down, 7. Culpepper, and nearly intercepted, and it would have been a touchdown for Alex Molden. And he could not hold on to it, and really kicking himself as Matthew Hatchett was the intended receiver.
That was great anticipation. Very, very good anticipation. Watch him. He's reading it. Break on the ball. You've got to make the difference between a good play, and that was a good play, and a great play is this right here. Make the interception. It's a great play. If you don't, you give him another shot, and it's 3rd down.
Saints defense doing its job, other than a couple of long pass plays which set up that first touchdown. Bringing up 3rd down and 7 at the 33. There's Randy Moss lining up to the left side. Culpepper getting time and going for Randy Moss, and the pass is incomplete. And coverage downfield by Fred Thomas, a nickel cornerback.
That was excellent coverage by Fred Thomas, because I believe they messed something up underneath. Mathis started to go in motion. You can see he puts the brakes on and comes back. Thomas has him to the outside. This is a mistake. There's no help. He's on an island all by himself. Perry can't get over there. Wow, that's excellent. Now, this is what they're saying is a push-off. That's what Haslett was complaining about inside. But you know what? The playoffs, they let him play.
Pittsburgher will kick on 4th down. And Chad Morton looking for running room. None there. Gets hit and hit hard, and finally slammed down at the 35-yard line by Lemansky Hall. Well, tomorrow, the Eagles and the Giants, one of those teams will move to the NFC Championship date next weekend. Philadelphia Eagles impressively beating the
against Donovan McNabb. And that really, to me, is the essence of that game. If the Eagles can protect, they have a shot.
Saints offensive line has protected Aaron Brooks, who starts from the 35. The handoff to Chad Morton. And Morton can't break a couple of tackles. He brings up the ball for 2-yard gain.
Dick, let's watch Randy Moss at the end of this play. You can see both of them kind of juggling around. He should have made that catch. I mean, a man of that stature. And you can see Al Jury. He's right there on top of it. He's the field judge, Al Jury, and he's been in this a long time, and he's not going to take anything. And so Randy Moss says, hey, what about that? You can see, not here. That's a good official.
And if you're on the Saints bench, you think that's automatic to Randy Moss on that matchup.
Should have been a catch. I mean,
2nd and 8. Morton going off the left side this time. And out of bounds. And he may have the first down. And I believe he does. Chased out by Orlando Thomas. So Chad Morton, who was a 5th-round pick out of Southern California, he and Gerald Moore trying to fill the bill along with Terry Allen, with Ricky Williams out.
Now, you know, there's one thing about, you know, in the running game where you have to be aggressive. And then there's another thing about you have to be aggressive all the time. And, you know, and you're Kyle Turley. He's one of those players. You have got to keep your head on a swivel. As a defender, I would look at it and say, man, that's cheap. But when you're on the field, it heightens your senses because you know you can be had.
Orlando Thomas, who had a broken shoulder blade, on the bench. And on first down, Brooks going downfield and off the hands of Jake Reed. He was there.
He was there. The protection was there. It was the right throw, the right coverage. And Brooks just missed it. This was on the quarterback. He sees it the whole time. Look, he eyeballing him the whole way. Ball comes off. It just came off too high. Just came off too high. And as it's going down, you see Aaron Brooks, his demeanor just kind of dropped because it's a wasted opportunity. You only get so many, Dick. You have to take advantage of it.
Every time that happens with Aaron Brooks, he just pops up again and keeps fighting as he did last week. Second and 10. Handoff to Ricky Williams. His 6th carry of the game. And gets it to midfield, bringing up 3rd and a long 6. Ed McDaniel on the play. 6 carries for 15 yards, and he's been in obviously more than just the carries you see in the game, and obviously feeling good about his broken ankle, as Culpepper does about his high ankle sprain.
It's a big 3rd down right here, Nick.
Tyrone Carter in for Orlando Thomas. 3rd and 6 in a nickel situation. Flag down, and this pass caught by Jake Reed, but that'll be blown dead, and a holding penalty is upcoming.
Ooh.
Preliminary signal is a hold.
Motion.
That was one official came in with the holding call.
Illegal shift. 2 men moving and not resetting.
Right.
On the offense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
There has to be, and Dick, you're right, he did. The other official did give a holding call too, but that one obviously is going to kill it early. So you have to set. It has to be set for at least a second before the other guy can move. And if you move at the same time in motion, you can move 2 at once if it's a shift, but if it's a motion, you can't do that.
Orlando Thomas with cramps, which is why he's on the sideline. So following the penalty, 3rd and 11. Tyrone Carter, the rookie, in his place. Brooks getting time. Loses the ball. Nope, he picked it up and sacked at the 40-yard line. Fernando Smith and John Burrow nearly jarred away from Aaron Brooks.
Well, that time they did play that soft zone, that cover 2 we talked about, which gives you 5 people underneath. And he's having a little bit of trouble with that. Generally, what you want to try to do is get to the middle of it down the field. But in order for that to happen, you need some time. He had a decent amount of time, but by the time he pulled it down, that's when you go ahead and get sacked.
Toby Goen with a good kick to Troy Walters at the 16-yard line. And Walters gets up to the 27-yard line where Phil Clark makes the tackle. So this game, many people thought it might be a high-scoring affair, noting the Vikings' defensive liabilities. Instead, it has been a good defensive battle on both sides.
Yeah, it really has. And since that big play from Randy Moss, which, you know, was early, it's the 3rd play of the game offensively for this Minnesota Vikings. Since that time, really nothing's happened. They've been inconsistent.
Randy Moss, no catches in the last 20 minutes. No, he gets antsy when he doesn't catch one in a while. Vikings from the 27.
No, that's nothing.
This place is dead now.
Always when they do, yes. Pump fake, go underneath to Robert Smith, and a pickup of about 4. And making the tackle was Chris Oldham.
Let's take a look at our cam, and keep in mind that's the official who's right behind the defensive line. And his job is to move up and look at the inside 3 offensive and defensive players. When the ball's going, he has to get back and put his head. See the camera right on the top? That's our cam on Jeff Rice right there.
We like Jeff Rice to be as steady as she goes.
That's right. Keep your head steady.
2nd and 5. Hand off to Robert Smith. And Smith can't break the tackle of Darren Perry, but he gets close to the 1st down. And the Vikings feel they have it as time running down to 4 minutes and 15 seconds to go in this first half. It is a Minnesota 1st down.
There's a little bit of patience by the Minnesota Vikings in the running game. And when you get that patience, that's Mike Tice, the offensive line coach. You know, Denny Green kind of shared a little bit with us this week. He's a little candid. We're saying, you know, when we don't move the ball, I really get impatient. And I have to guard against it. Mike Tice is his guard, the offensive line coach here in Minnesota.
Especially when he doesn't move it on the ground, and they haven't, so he has been patient. Movement on 1st down.
Encroachment, 99, defense, 5 yards, still 1st down.
So it'll be 1st and 5 after Norman Hand is called for encroachment. Vikings secondary talking things over. 10-3 the score. Minnesota doing a terrific defensive job, not allowing a touchdown to this point. 1st and 5 at the 43. Smith backs off one defender and will lose play as Johnson makes the pressure and stops him for a loss of 2. Let's check in with Pam Oliver. Pam?
All right, Dick, a couple of injury notes for the Vikings secondary. Orlando Thomas has a sprained hamstring. Quarterback Kenny Wright has a sprained knee. Both return questionable. Back to you.
Well, that makes that secondary awfully thin now, Pam, as Wright is injured. He was a starter for a good part of the year at cornerback.
It also limits what you can do when you have your nickel and dime coverages because you start losing those components.
2nd down and 7. Culpepper with a short drop, and the pass caught by Johnny McWilliams, the tight end, but he is short by 1.5 yards, thanks to Darren Smith, who was there to make the stop.
Good tight coverage. This New Orleans defense has been playing pretty well, and they've been able to get pressure on Culpepper with their front 4, but most importantly, let's go back to the beginning of the game, they've been able to handle Robert Smith with just 7 people. That is very important. It gives you options in coverage, especially with Moss out there and Chris Carter.
And the 5'7" Troy Walters, who is returning kicks, number 82, goes in motion, and he is being shadowed there by Kevin Mathis, and this pass is caught by Troy Walters, who gets the 1st down into Saints territory. So Walters comes in, does his job, goes to the sideline, and we'll take a break with a 2-minute warning here at the Metrodome with the Vikings in front, 10-3.
This is going to a whole new level.
And he hit her out of bounds, too.
Should have been a flag.
Yep.
I noticed that. Pam, you can take him, Pam. No, you can't.
Minnesota using a timeout, have 2 remaining, already within range of Gary Anderson, but they're looking for the 6th. Want to remind you, coming up on the Visa halftime show, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have highlights and analysis of today's divisional playoff games, and our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up next on the Visa halftime report.
That was really a nice play by Culpepper. And like I said, that's just another step in maturity, because once he recognizes it that quick and pulls it down, you can take advantage with those defenders locked up, man, with their backs to you.
Matthew Hatchett, the 3rd wide receiver on the 17-yard line. That's Carter going wide to the left. Another fake by Culpepper, and his pass to Chris Carter, touchdown!
Mathis had coverage, but did not play the ball. He played the man. And the differences in the play is that Chris Carter played the ball. Mathis had perfect coverage on him. He knew he was matched up on the outside. He knew he was going to have a chance. He's going to use the back part of the end zone, but watch the head. Never played the ball. He played the man, and he got beat.
17-yard pass play, so Culpepper hitting Randy Moss, 53 yards in the 1st quarter. Now Chris Carter with the other touchdown pass, and Gary Anderson's extra point is good, and the Minnesota Vikings opening up a 17-3 lead over the Saints with 1:29 to go in the 2nd quarter.
Now, Dick, let's take first things first, because Culpepper cannot make this throw if he doesn't get well protected. Corbin Lucina is working on Leroy Glover and then gets by with a look at that, 3 guys on him. They're going to make sure Glover's not going to get there. And because of that, watch Mathis. See, the key is, he was looking at his chest. You can't do that. You look at the man in man coverage, but once that Chris Carter declares the ball with his eyes, then you have to find the ball. You don't stay on Chris Carter. If you do, this is what you look at right here.
So Chris Carter, who's 2nd all-time receiving and touchdown catches to the great Jerry Rice, grabs one there, and Daunte Culpepper set it all up with what was his longest run from scrimmage of the year, 30 yards. 27 had been the previous high. So Culpepper, high ankle sprain and all, wearing that brace, and the Vikings opening up a 17-3 advantage. The Saints still have 2 timeouts to try to muster something before intermission. Mitch Berger will kick off. Fred McAfee back deep. McAfee at the 7. And he's not going to get much as he is down at the 25-yard line. So the Saints come on offense now. Aaron Brooks, 8 for 16. He's missed a couple of people. 60 yards. Chad Morton, the leading rusher, and the leading receiver, even though Ricky Williams has played a lot today.
That's not a good sign. That's no slap against Chad Morton, but you have to be able to be more productive. And if Chad Morton is the guy who's doing it, then you have to have more. And I think really when you look at those numbers, to me it's about missed opportunities. Remember the Aaron Brooks pass down the middle, deep, missed it. Remember the Robert Wilson drop on the sideline. Those are missed opportunities. You can't afford them.
Ricky Williams also with 14 yards. First down at the 25. Brooks completes to Keith Poole, and he can't get away from the defender Kenny Wright, who is back in action. That's a gain of 6 yards. Remember, the Saints had good field position following a good defensive stop near midfield and could not convert then. 2nd and 4 for Brooks. Wide open is Chad Morton. Morton with the first down and gets to the 45-yard line. And the Saints, who have 2 timeouts remaining, will use one here. Well, it's that time of year again, and in just 15 days, the All-Madden team returns.
You realize it's a blast. It's enjoyable for when John. And the other thing is, you know, when you're an offensive lineman, you automatically get like a vote. And when your offensive line coach is happy with that, I mean, that's like a job well done. He comes over, pat him on the head. That's a good job. All that stuff is good. Good team stuff inside, and it always starts with the offensive line.
Saints have only managed 1 field goal in their first 5 possessions. 54 seconds to go and 1 timeout left. They're on their 45. Aaron Brooks. And falling down was Jake Reed before the ball got to him.
You know, this was good by Aaron Brooks because he recognized he's going to have an opportunity. They brought some pressure on him. He was going to have man-to-man outside. He knew where he wanted to go. Look, he has this outside. You have people coming up. So you're going to be man-to-man with Serwanga, the guy you want to get to. You have time. It's on. That now is on Jake Reed. You have to win. You have to win. He did not, and that's the difference in the play.
Serwanga has played well since the early going.
Sure.
2nd down and 10. Brooks pass, again too short, and he was going for Willie Jackson. Willie Jackson, who last week caught 3 touchdown passes, has grabbed 2 thus far.
Still a lot of time here, obviously, on 3rd down. This is a big 3rd down. They have to get themselves a first, but they have to get some points out of this to go in at halftime. If they go in down by 14 without getting anything out of this, that hurts, because keep in mind, Minnesota starts the 2nd half with the ball.
3rd down and 10. They've got to get to the 45. And here is a pass to Chad Morton, and Morton's not going to get there. He'll be about a yard short of the first down. And there's the yellow line indicating the first down. Dwayne Rudd prevents the Saints from getting it. And now New Orleans will use their 3rd and final timeout with 35 seconds to go on the clock. And what do you do now if you're Jim Haslett?
Well, you have to make a tough decision, but the one thing he has to keep in mind when he makes this decision is that Aaron Brooks has had problems against this zone. And it's been soft, and they've been giving him the underneath, but he's been taking away all of his outside things, and that's where the Saints thought that they could do some damage, was outside against the corners, Tate and Serwanga. That has not materialized today.
4th down and 1 coming up for the Saints, and they'll need more than the 1 yard to get it in position for a possible Doug Bryant field goal. Serwanga's been thrown at 4 times. That was that first completion for 5 yards. He was guilty of the pass interference, which set up the Saints 3 points. So it's 4th and 1 on the Viking 46.
Aaron Brooks' feet will figure into this play.
And Brooks trying to go outside, being chased from behind by Griffith. Brooks will get the first down and go out of bounds with 27 ticks on the clock.
Boy, it's nice to have options when you're a quarterback, isn't it? Especially when you have to have some speed and running ability. He's looking downfield and the coverage is tight. You know, I think what happens with a young quarterback sometimes, and this is something he's got to learn, in this league, you're open when you have position, not when you have steps on a guy. And you have to know that body position means completion.
Saints out of timeouts. They're on the 41-yard line. So they're going to have to hustle if they get anything done, and they may not get anything done as John Randall, who for the first time in 8 years had less than 10 sacks in a season, grabs Mr. Brooks for a loss of 6 yards. And lining up with the clock running and 15 seconds to go in the first half is Brooks, and this pass thrown behind the intended receiver, Willie Jackson, defense by Waswa Serwanga with only 11 seconds to go at midfield.
Well, I think the Vikings came in here thinking that they were going to give him some looks, give him some blitzes, force him to have to find the open receiver, and I think he did okay with that. But what he's struggling with right now is when they're playing the soft zones, and he's not finding the open guy in the open area. And here's what I think in the second half. I don't believe that Aaron Brooks will play this. Not that it's been poor, but he won't play at this level in the second half. He'll be better in the second half.
3rd and 16 at the 47. Swing pass to Chad Morton. And Morton spinning away, trying to get out of bounds, and he does with 3 seconds to go as a flag goes down.
Now, if this goes against Minnesota, you can tack something on. You can actually take a shot at a field goal.
There's no foul on the play. The player did not trip the runner.
What was in question was at the end when Chad Morton threw that fake on him, if he got tripped or not as a result of the tackle. But he didn't trip him, so there's no flag.
Doug Bryant's longest kick is 56 yards, and
so right now you're looking at a 60-yard field goal, so you're not going to do that. But what you will do is you'll take a shot into the end zone. And so what you'll do is you'll take Randy Moss and you'll put him deep, because there's nobody better in the league at playing the ball in the air than Randy Moss, whether he's on offense or defense.
The true center fielder right there is Randy Moss with 3 seconds remaining. He is standing on the 5-yard line. So the Hail Mary being tossed up by Aaron Brooks in the corner, and it's knocked down, and that'll do it for the first half. So it was Randy Moss who actually batted the ball down as he would a rebound. And that is the end of the first half here at the Metrodome with the score, the Vikings 17, the Saints 3. And this Fox NFL special will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. And who would have thought that Minnesota could have a 2-touchdown lead, Matt, in light of the fact that Robert Smith has gained only 16 yards on the ground?
Well, if you think about it, you know it can happen. You knew there was going to be a big play, and that happened early. Play number 3, Randy Moss down the field. That was one thing. Then there was another big play, and really it came on the feet of Daunte Culpepper. Put him in a position to have that Chris Carter score. That's really been what they've been able to do. And I think on the other side for the New Orleans Saints, I think it's going to, 2 things are going to matter. It's going to matter if this first series, they have to slow them down. They have to take Minnesota and give them no points in this first series. And then the second thing is Aaron Brooks has got to handle that soft zone better. For me, I think it's going to, or for him rather, it's going to be recognition, seeing what it is, and then making the good decisions, particularly dumping it down underneath to your backs and forcing that underneath coverage to try to drive on the ball. That will create the bigger plays that he's looking for down the field.
Culpepper 9 of 16 for 161 yards and 2 touchdown passes, 1 to Moss and 1 to Carter, as Toby Goen gets the second half underway, and Troy Walters returning the kickoff, looking for some running room. Very nifty, diminutive runner, and he is set down as we send you down to Pam Oliver.
All right, Dick, talked to both coaches at halftime. First of all, the Saints and Jim Haslett. He's talking about their offense, and he's also talking about something Matt's been talking about the whole game. He says, we have had our chances. We've had some opportunities, but we're seeing receivers drop way too many balls. As for the Vikings and Dennis Green, he says we want to continue on with the offensive momentum we developed there to end the first half, and we are not going to give up on the running game. We're going to get back to it as soon as we can. That's the story from here. Back to you, Dick.
All right, Pam, a good report as the Vikings start from the 23, and they're trying to get Robert Smith going. Smith carrying for the 11th time, and only 18 yards is stopped by Joe Johnson as we look at the halftime numbers.
Yeah, I think you look at the numbers, and personally, I think you just get rid of them. You notice this, and you notice this, but what you really see there is the Saints have not gotten in sync. And to echo what Jim Haslett said, they've had opportunities they've not taken advantage of.
Game has been free of turnovers as the Vikings look at 2nd and 7 on the 26. Culpepper swings it out to Andrew Jordan in his first catch of the game. And out of bounds, a yard short of a first down, thanks to Alex Molden.
To echo also what Pam said, Denny Green understands that this is a big first series for New Orleans. The Vikings need to establish what they had going at the end of the half. Right now, this is a big third down. If New Orleans can stop them here and get something back and disrupt what they had going, that's a step in the right direction.
Vikings need only a yard for the first down. And the quick to Randy Moss, and he's going to get by almost everybody. In fact, he gets by everybody and goes into the end zone for a touchdown, a 68 yards.
Dick, that was a pass for 0. And it was all Randy Moss. And they brought the safety. They brought the safety from the outside. You're going to see him come. Look, here he comes. Right there. Now watch. Once he hits the crease, it's over. There's nobody on the field who's going to outrun him. In fact, the fastest guy for the Saints is right there, Mark Fields. But the safety came up, exposed the inside. The corner held the outside. He hit the crease, and it was 78 and out the gate.
As Culpepper celebrates, again, he's got that move down, and it looked like every member of the New Orleans secondary was giving chase to Randy Moss in vain. And the conversion by Gary Anderson. So it was 28 minutes since the last catch for Randy Moss, but he can catch his breath now. A 68-yard touchdown, and it was 68 yards when he ran. Here in the upper Midwest, and it's a wonderland here at the Metrodome as Randy Moss with a 68-yard touchdown catch. That's the second longest pass play in Viking playoff history. Fred McAfee returning the kickoff. And once again, great coverage by the Vikings special teams led by Chris Wall.
Well, let's go back and look at this touchdown, and I want you to watch what's going to happen. The safety, Perry's going to rotate down, and that's going to create a space right in here. So once he gets inside and gets to that area, it's a foot race. He tries to beat him, so what has to happen? You have to use every inch of the field. And you can see the tightrope that he's walking, or running rather, down that left sideline. There was the last shot by Mark Fields, but Randy Moss is just too fast and too talented. Incidentally, second catch, 3 plays in the first half touchdown, 3 plays in the second half touchdown.
Marvin copy from the opening game, and a fumble on the snap on the shotgun. And flag is down as well. So the New Orleans Saints are going to have to try to regain some of their composure here as they trail 24-3. Walt Coleman with the explanation.
Prior to the snap, full start, 68, offense, 5 yards.
That's Kyle Turley, the right tackle. So this is where the Saints, who had to grow up in a hurry this year, going from 3-13, all the injuries, many young players, first-year coach Jim Haslett, and now they're really into the fire here in Minnesota, where the Vikings lost only 1 game and trailing 24-3. And their composure may be their top priority here. 1st and 15 on the 12-yard line. Brooks with a lot of time, and this pass is caught by Robert Wilson at the 25-yard line, still about 3 yards shy of the first down.
This is a position that the Saints aren't very comfortable with. But we'll see the adjustments that are made here by the Saints. One of the things I see automatically that I like, they're picking the pace up. And they're going to go with that no huddle. And what that does defensively, it locks you into only a few coverages.
2nd and 2. And this pass, and it's intended for Jackson, and he makes the catch. So Willie Jackson, the hero last week as a receiver against the Rams, and the hurry up
I like this.
Continues for the Saints.
Sure, I like this. Very nice. You have the new platoon comes in for the Minnesota Vikings.
Saints get it up to the 39-yard line. Already the Vikings striking fast in this 3rd quarter. The handoff to Chad Morton. And Morton picking up about 3 to the 42-yard line. So the Saints have not been able to run that much. Neither have the Vikings. There's Ricky Williams, who saw action and gained 14 yards in the first half.
I like this, though, by Mike McCarthy, the offensive coordinator. He's got to get something back. You're down 3 scores. You need something. What they did in the first half didn't help them. What they're going to do now, they're going to quicken the pace. Still comes down to Aaron Brooks making the plays. He's been relatively well protected.
2nd down and 7. Brooks staying in the pocket.
Come back
being chased by Burrow. And this pass is caught, I believe, and it is by Willie Jackson, who stayed in bounds. Waswa Sawanga was with him.
Well, Sawanga hit him. And because he hit him, the impetus of the hit, if it takes you out of bounds, they will count that as a catch. The idea being that if you don't hit him, he has a shot at coming inbounds. Here's the catch.
Yes.
Perfect. Good call by the officials.
He would have had both feet in had he come down.
He may have had him down anyway. They're up. Awful close. But if he doesn't push him, it's a catch.
So the Saints with the hurry up, but very quietly moving their way downfield on the 46 of Minnesota, and the pass thrown underneath to Chad Morton. And Morton picks up about 5 yards. And the Saints have to realize, Matt, that they're not going to get 21 points immediately and on one drive. You've got time.
The one thing you're going to get out of Jim Haslett's team is patience, because he knows, you know, the best salesman is the guy who knows your product and the other product. He's a good salesman.
Look at the difference in the yards per completion. Minnesota going with the big play effectively today. 2nd and 5 at the 41, and the Saints going underneath most of the time. And this pass caught by Willie Jackson turns inside and gets the first down to the Viking 20. So Sawanga, who played well after the initial burst, missed the tackle and a gain of 20.
Well, you just use your momentum against him. See, he got too high to the top side. You have to maintain leverage on the inside out. By taking that step, you just go ahead and let him run right by, and there you are.
7th play of the drive for the Saints, who trail 24-3. Brooks flips it out to Chad Morton, has blocking in front of him. First down and more as he gets inside the 10 to about the 4-yard line, and it was Chris Naoli with a good block for Morton and his 8th catch of the game.
Better than the block, Dick, was the call. Excellent call. Sees it in his zone. You know these guys are coming hard on you. You can see that John Randall got the pressure on him. So you use it against you. And you get your blockers out in front, and you give them a chance in the open space. They get the score here. This has been a fantastic rebuttal to what's happened with that big score.
And Aaron Brooks 6 for 6 in the passing department on this drive.
Remember, I said he wouldn't be the same guy in the second half as the first half.
You're right. Terry Allen in the game at running back.
They have him flustered. Something's wrong over there on defense, and Robert Griffith saw it and had to take a timeout.
Timeout. Minnesota.
And because of that, you're one guy done. If you're -1, you could end up -7.
1st and goal at the 2-yard line for the Saints, and Ricky Williams, who appears, from what we understand, a bit agitated that he has not been put in the game. We told you Terry Allen in the game, and he is in there now. Chad Morton has seen a lot of action. He has caught 8 passes thus far, but Jim Haslett keeping Ricky Williams on the bench. 1st and goal at the 2.
You know, when I was Jim Haslett and I heard somebody was agitated, I'd say agitation, smagitation. I don't care. I want to score.
It's exactly what he said, I think.
That's highfalutin coach talk right there.
No comment. 3 tight ends line up for the Saints. And here's Brooks, backed up, firing, and it's caught for the touchdown, and wide open was Dave Stahelski, the 3rd tight end.
What the Stahelski?
Boy, you're coming up with them today.
Well, it was a great call. That was all of Mike McCarthy, the offensive coordinator. Because instead of going, usually when you go play action, you get to the corner. Stahelski gets to the back of the end zone, and guess what? He's like the cheese. The cheese stands alone. He's just hanging back there.
Well, I tell you, you're a triple threat. Last 3
rumble, stumble, and fumble.
That is Stahelski's first catch of the year. Of course, he had none in the regular season, and there's Doug Bryan with the extra point. So
that was big, Dick.
Yeah, but one of the rare times the crowd is quiet when the Saints have the ball.
Yeah, and the Saints came marching in on the strength of the patience from the sideline.
24 as the Vikings lead 24-10, and the scoring drive, 8 plays, 83 yards, only 4 minutes. Brooks was 7 for 7 on the drive for 85 yards, and the touchdown cost to Stahelski.
I want you to watch Terry Allen and John Randall. See these two right here, former teammates that know each other. There's one thing about trash talking when dogging a guy, but then there's another thing when you're friends and your buddies, you're going back and forth, and you can't help but laugh. And Terry Allen's looking at him. Look at the smile on his face. That John Randall comes up with some humdingers, let me tell you.
Originally a 9th-round pick by the Vikings back in 1990. Terry Allen came back from reconstructive knee surgery, both his knees, and had big years. So Toby Goen kicking off, and Troy Walters returning for the Vikings. And Walters still on his feet and now put down at the 25-yard line. Well, in just 6 weeks, it's the dawning of a whole new era in motorsports. There they are now, the Daytona 500 and NASCAR come to Fox.
That picture was wrong because Culpepper ran right by Robert Smith, and that doesn't happen.
Not often. First 10 at the 24-yard line, and here is Robert Smith. And Smith picking up about 3 yards on first down, and it was Leroy Glover on the play.
They've held him pretty much in check, Dick. That's one of the things we said at the start. I believe that they had to be able to handle Robert Smith with those 7 people without committing a safety. Really, when they've had problems is when the safeties have gotten in trouble and haven't been able to help outside on those receivers.
His longest rush has been 6 yards. Gained only 23 in the game. 2nd and 6 against Smith. Smith is brought down about 3 yards short of the first down by Joe Johnson that time.
Well, now you're saying they're going to make a concerted effort to run this football because they know that all else fails. Heck, they just throw another one up there. Randy Moss will make the catch. That's what big playability is all about, and that's what, the quick strike. That's why he's so feared in this league.
And the yards after the catch, 107. And he got all 68, as you said, on that quick at the line of scrimmage the last time. 3rd down and 2. Culpepper stepping up, and his pass is caught for the first down by Chris Carter. And Carter giving the Vikings another set of downs. Perry and Thomas on the play, a gain of 7.
Now this is the type of game, if it would stay like this for Minnesota offensively, this is the type of game that Chris Carter eats alive. If you're going to try to create 3rd and short, he's one of those receivers that thrives on reading coverage and sitting down because you can't really cover him if you're going to stick in the zone because he'll find the hole in the zone.
And he boxes you out if you're a defender.
They got both of them. Both those receivers have the NBA going for them.
Randy Moss in motion to the lower part, and here is Smith. Nothing doing, and Leroy Glover grabbed the shoe top and limits him to a gain of 2.
See, that's a perfect illustration of what Leroy Glover does. He doesn't stay blocked. He gets off things really well. And so, you may have a block, or you may mess up sometimes and not account for him, or try to account for him by running away from him. But it doesn't last long. That's why if you notice in this game today, there'll be a hole and it'll close quick.
Bolden out to the left defending against Randy Moss on 2nd and 8.
Safety's down. Here's the safety up.
And here comes the pressure on Culpepper. He gets rid of it to Kleinsaucer. And Kleinsaucer makes the catch and is stopped a yard short of the first down at midfield by Molden. Darren Smith as well. So 7 yards on the play will bring up 3rd and a long one for the Vikings.
Daunte Culpepper did not like the fact that that safety hit him and kept on hitting him. You're going to watch tonight. He's going to come in. He hits him, takes him right down to the ground. He doesn't like that. So he bench presses him off, and then a reversal, 2 points, and about to put him on his back. He's not going to let him go, though.
Last time the Vikings needed a yard, they got it to Chris Carter for 7 yards. 3rd and 1 at the 48. And this time it's Robert Smith. He's got the first down. Bounces off a couple of defenders. And his premium run of the game, Robert Smith, who's been stymied so far, gets 25 on this play into Viking into St. Territory as Red McCombs enjoys it. Mitchell making the tackle finally.
Dick, the opposite of staying blocked is, is staying tackled. He got hit, but he didn't stay hit. He bounced right off of it, got to the outside. You can see the determination in his face.
First and 10 at the 27-yard line. So a running play. Culpepper in the first half running for 30. That time it was Robert Smith. And a play action pass coming up. Culpepper going for Randy Moss, but he couldn't hold on. He had it in his hands. And it will go incomplete, bringing up 2nd down.
That's the second time he should have had a ball. That should have been a catch. Now what he feels is the safety to the inside. And that ball is going to be to the outside. Now underneath the ball, here come the hands. And again, that would have been a tough catch, but Randy Moss he's at the zenith of all receivers. He's the high point and the standard. So if you're that guy, you make that catch.
2 catches, 121 yards. 2nd and 10 with under 5.5 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. And here's Robert Smith. And not this time. Smith maybe 1 yard on the play. Well, tomorrow, the second half of this weekend's divisional playoff matchup as the Philadelphia Eagles and Donovan McNabb go against the New York Giants. Both teams surprises this year.
Well, and I think when you look at both these teams, Kerry Collins had himself an outstanding. John Elway. Here's a moose in the hoose.
Here's the 3rd and 9 play, and it is incomplete. Crowd yelling for a flag. Randy Moss defended by Alex Molden, but none coming.
But Al Jury, the field judge, was standing right there and he was watching. And what he was saying, and I was watching, he motioned afterwards. And again, this is a good job, just letting them play. You're going to watch it down the bottom. They brought the safety. They were man-to-man outside. And they're going to say, see, Moss was pushing with one hand. Molden never really did anything. And Jury was right on top of it. And that's why he's in the playoffs.
Gary Anderson, who has kicked a 24-yard field goal. This will be a 44-yard attempt. And Anderson, who's almost automatic kicking indoors, except perhaps for the Atlanta game a couple of years ago in the championship.
Done.
27-10.
If you'd have heard Niagara Falls there, forget it, because slowly I would have turned, step by step.
Mitch Berger will kick off, and Fred McAfee deep. It's a 17-point lead for the Vikings with under 4.5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter, and McAfee tackled. The Vikings special teams coverage has been exemplary today. That was Pete Versich.
There's Mike Tice down there talking to the offensive line, because what he can do with those still photos is show him exactly where they lined up and how you're going to block it in the plan. You can see right now the combination blocks are talking about how they get to the linebacker. Now they're looking at how they're going to, same thing. You're just going to take care so you can advance from the inside out. That's good stuff. That is really good. This is what the game's all about right here.
Well, the last time the Saints had the ball, they had to go 83 yards for a score, and they did. They have to go 83 yards here on first down. Aaron Brooks will run it and will get good yardage. And Robert Griffith will clamp down on him, but not before. Brooks Brings it out to the 30 and a first down for the Saints.
They came with a blitz and they tried to get numbers to his right side. But because of that blitz, that means coverage-wise, you're locked up man-to-man. The same thing that Daunte Culpepper did earlier with his big run. Brooks takes advantage of it as well.
Ricky Williams back in the lineup, has gained 14 yards on 6 carries, but this is a pass play. Brooks out to Ricky Williams. By the time he caught it, he had a bunch of people named Rudd and Hoban there.
Yeah, and mostly Rudd, because that was about recognition. They came with the blitz stick, and he saw that it was going to be a perfect call for this defense because he came from the outside. But what he also noticed was that Ricky Williams gave him a half-hearted block, and that happens for a reason. So that means you have to feel that and recognize that. Then he turned and got on his horse. That's a fantastic play.
The Minnesota defense has had a terrific game. They have been under siege and criticism coming into this one after the last 3 games of the regular year. 2nd and 8, and the pass overthrown intended for Ricky Williams, bringing up 3rd down. But Brooks has been befuddled by the Minnesota defense all day.
Well, I think that goes back to Emmett Thomas. Because what Emmett Thomas has done is he's mixed his things up pretty well. He's the defensive coordinator of Minnesota. And it hasn't been that same bland look of just cover 2 all the time. Although when they've thrown that on them, he's had problems with that.
Third down and 8. Pressure put on Brooks. And this pass is incomplete. Bouncing off of the potential receiver. And it was Andrew Glover covered downfield by Robert Griffith. Also Kylie Wong downfield.
That's just comes the pressure on that side. It's numbers, which means you're man-to-man on the outside. Robert Griffith had his coverage perfect. Never turned and looked.
And it bounced off the arm of Andrew Glover, the ex-Viking. So 4th down and Toby Goen with a high punt. Flag is down and it's fielded by Troy Walters. Backed up and down he goes to the 15-yard line. But the penalty marker upfield with 2:44 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And the Vikings, who led 17-3 at half, have increased their lead. And the penalty will be an ineligible man downfield.
Kick that sucker again, because that one you can do better than the 15-yard line.
I would think.
It's a good kick and good coverage.
Kicking team player, number 40, downfield, prior to the kick, 5 yards, repeat 4th down.
So it's Brian Millen who got downfield. So instead of backing the Vikings up to the 15, they have to punt again. Saints with an uphill climb in this game. Lost only 1 road game all year. And the Vikings, whose only home loss was against the Green Bay Packers in the 16th week of the season.
It was a good series by the Minnesota Viking defense. Good job by Emmett Thomas of mixing his coverage and putting pressure and forcing him to have the ball come out. And then Dwayne Rudd made a fantastic play.
So here's Goen again, and this is not nearly as long. And Troy Walters at the 29-yard line, and he'll be hit immediately. But the difference is going to be about 15-20 yards.
17 yards.
Well, the Saints trying to battle uphill despite injuries to key people. Cam Cleveland in preseason. And then Steve Israel with a broken leg. And then Ricky Williams, of course, Jeff Blake. And Joe Horn just last divisional playoff. But here you find yourself down by 17 late in the 3rd.
Is that the theme for Medical Center? Where the heck did
One of those shows. One of those shows.
I'll be Joe Gannon.
1st and 10 at the 32. Culpepper. Someone grabbed his foot and he throws it out of bounds. It was Joe Johnson who grabbed a hold of the right ankle.
Joe Johnson was able to beat Corey Stringer to the outside and latch onto him. But this reminds me, I hark back to my days of Roman Gabriel. Because Roman Gabriel will do the same thing. He'd stand in there strong and tall. And that's his bad ankle. And he just armed it and muscled it out. And on the backside, you know, Jim Haslett never stopped being the player. Look at him.
He just keeps on. He's yelling at him. See Chris Carter? Look at that. Like the cat that got the bird right there.
2nd and 10 at the 32. Randy Moss going in motion, 2 tight ends, and here's Robert Smith trying to cut upfield. And Smith to the 35-yard line with a gain of 3. Orlando Thomas, who suffered a hamstring pull, out of the game. Thomas, who is from the Louisiana area, was a Saints fan early on, and in fact he says when the Saints are playing on Sundays, not playing the Vikings, he roots for the Saints and thought he was drafted by them. So disappointed that he's out of injury after missing 7 games earlier this season. 3rd down and 7. That's what the Vikings have done on 3rd down today, and Culpepper's pass going high to make the grab is Chris Carter. Great hands today by the veteran number 80.
Now you see what Chris Carter did? Now he's talking back to Hazard. Like, I got your stuff right here. Now there's a mistake made here, and it starts early. See, what happens is Kevin Mathis tried to fake a blitz and didn't put himself in a position to make the best possible play. This is the end of it. There's the catch. Now he's going to get up at the end of this thing. He's going to look right to the sideline, and this is what he has to say back to Jim Hazard.
19 yards for Chris Carter. And a 1st down for the Vikings on the Saints 46-yard line. Robert Smith trying to turn the corner, and Sammy Knight catches up with him. So the Saints, if their number 1 priority was to curtail Robert Smith, they've been successful in doing that, but that's about all. One minute remaining in the 3rd quarter. The Vikings leading the Saints 27-10. Minnesota trying to rebound from 3 season-ending losses, and then the week off, which really helped them, and a chance to go to the NFC Championship game against the winner of either the Eagles or the Giants. 2nd down and 6. Culpepper out of the shotgun. The screen for Robert Smith, but off his hands.
You could see it happening, and Norman Hand actually got his hand. Norman got a hand in there.
They got to hand it to Norman for that kind of play.
No question. Now that's about, again, there's a lot of good recognition in here. That, look at that, just gets that thing up and just tips it and forces that ball to be an incompletion, sets up 3rd down. Watched the play last week in the Ricky Prohl touchdown against the St. Louis Rams, and Norman Hand got his hand up there, deflected it, and it was like it was a perfectly thrown ball for a touchdown. I don't think anybody even noticed. I know the TV cameras never picked it up.
3rd down and 6. And the whistle blows, ending the play.
If Richie Zients and Artie Kemner were doing a game, we would have seen that.
Well, now you're talking about another set of rules here.
Good point by you.
Prior to the snap, false start, 73, offense.
Todd Stussy, the left tackle, 5-yard penalty. So in week 17, the triumvirate of Smith, Moss, and Carter, 146 combined yards. Today, they're approaching 300 yards and 3 touchdowns already. Randy Moss with 2 touchdown receptions and Chris Carter with 1. So 3rd down and 11. Vikings on the New Orleans 47-yard line. Culpepper getting time, and this pass going to Carter incomplete. It was Kevin Mathis in front of him, and now they're going at it again. Hazard and Carter jaw to jaw right now.
No, see, now you got Jim Hazard thinks he's going to be wearing his number again, and he wants to go out there. I love the intensity. I love that intensity. That's what separates him.
You know, I have a feeling if you were down there, you'd do the same thing.
I may do that. That would be one of those things that you'd have to guard against. You know, what it's about, Dick, really is about passion. Chris Carter, you know, he's got passion, too. He loves the game.
So it's 4th down, and Mitch Berger to kick it away. Chad Morton back deep. We have not had anything from the special teams other than good coverage, and they're going to kick this one again as the flag will have a false start call against Minnesota with 33 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
Prior to the snap, false start, 56, offense, 5 yards, still 4th down.
Now, you tell me that this group isn't into it on the sidelines. He's telling something about a bull.
Something over there about what a bolt does, and then he keeps on going, and he goes right after the official.
Maybe invite him to a rodeo.
Could have been. Hey, there's a lot of possibilities.
So now Berger will kick from 5 yards back.
They played against each other probably. He didn't retire that long ago.
And a booming kick by Berger, and Gordon will let it go into the end zone. So a touchback with 23 seconds left in the quarter.
You know, Jim Haslett, he coaches like he played. The same thing. Look at those BDIs. Intensity, that's what it's all about. And, you know, this is Jim Haslett when he was playing. And guess, take a look. Just take the helmet off, and it's the same thing. It didn't change. Because what that time, you can tell I like the guy.
Well, he was a Raider at one time.
Yeah, but he's intense. He's about playing. It's competitive. The game means something to him. I love those guys. Here's another one. Same thing. Game means something to him. Not going to give an inch.
And Chris Carter badly wants the Super Bowl. Close to being one game from getting into the Super Bowl. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line following the touchback. And Aaron Brooks has the pass intercepted by Robert Tate. This is a team that picked off only 8 passes this year, last in the league. But Tate intercepts that one intended for Reed.
Well, they dialed up a blitz, and they got pressure. They had man-to-man outside. Remember we said earlier, they're going to go ahead. He knew where he wanted to go, and you can look right now because it is man coverage. But they were going to put pressure on the young quarterback to try to make him to throw a bad ball, and that's exactly what he did. You're going to watch Reed. He's going to have him beat to the outside. Throw the ball here. He did. He threw it to the inside, and that's the difference in the play. It's an interception, and it's going the other way.
So Tate's, who had 2 interceptions, the leader on this team had 2. And as we said, the Vikings did not really get the turnover that fashion this year. And the first turnover of this game, bringing up 1st down, and on the rollout, the bootleg and the Culpepper getting inside the 35, and a gain of about 6.
There, Dick? Will you run an option when you're up by 17 with the quarterback with a bad ankle?
Either that or there was a mix-up, and that is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score, the Vikings 27 and the Saints 10. And this Fox NFL special will continue after a word from your local Fox station. We're back here and getting ready for the start of the 4th quarter with the Vikings getting the ball on the turnover. And at the 24-yard line of the Saints is Aaron Brooks, who's led his team to a 4-2 record, including the win last week against St. Louis, but under heavy pressure and siege against the Vikings today. 2nd down and 4. Moss going in motion to the top, and here is Carter on the quick. 1st down, Vikings.
Saw Richard Solomon on the sideline talking about his secondary. I think they've played pretty well today. They've done a pretty good job in coverage, and they've taken away a lot of things. And it's also been a good job of them, you know, blitzing and mixing coverages. I thought, thinking right now, just watching this game, defensively they've played pretty well.
They've allowed only 1 touchdown in this game. This is a team that gave up a total of over 100 points in the last 3 games collectively. 1st down at the 17. Here is Robert Smith. And Smith getting to the 15-yard line. Leroy Glover on the tackle.
Now Denny Green, what he's doing right now is he's just staying patient, and he's working the clock, and he's going to keep on handing the ball to Robert Smith and that big offensive line. And even though they don't get great push, they're wearing him down, and they're creating 3rd and shorts, 3rd and manageable. And that all goes back to patience, what we talked about at the start of the game.
So he was able to adjust because they were not getting much yardage from Robert Smith. He stayed patient anyway. 2nd down and 7. The pitch is to Robert Smith. And Smith gaining about 3 yards. Willie Whitehead making the tackle, bringing up 3rd down.
You know, Robert Smith has been held in check except for 1 run when he bounced it out the backside. Other than that, you know, he's been getting it the old-fashioned way. They just keep on grinding it and pounding it. And I think that's a step for Robert Smith. As you can see the numbers that he's had in the last 3 weeks and today, But the step is, you know, and everybody used to say that he was just a speed guy, like, you know, so he's not. He can take the pounding. He looks physically bigger to me than he had been. He's been playing very, very well just by short numbers.
Of those 68 yards, 25 was the big run by Robert Smith. 3rd down and 4. And here's Chris Carter with the first down catch for the Vikings. Perry and Mathis on the defense, and Chris Carter.
Well, he loves the crowd.
Yes, he does.
He loves the crowd. Remember earlier I talked about when you go against these zones or when you have the coverage that Carter, if you give him an option, you're just going to let him sit down. See, that's what he, and you see that Perry right there and Mathis, they were dedicated to him. That is not, all that is just recognition and telling the quarterback, I will be open, throw me the ball.
Vikings with a 1st and goal at the 6-yard line and in control of this game. And there's Carter pushing Matt Hatchett over to the right side.
Get your rear end over there where you belong.
And Robert Smith stopped from behind, and the tackle there made by Whitehead, bringing up 2nd down and goal.
Watching, there's one thing when you're in the middle of a game, you have to know what the heck is going on. You can't be making mistakes. And Matt Hatchett was going to try to say, listen, this is what we're doing. Chris Carson, get your rear end out of here. Get over there where you belong.
2nd and goal at the 7-yard line. The crowd has been very quiet when the Vikings have had the ball, raucous when the Saints have had it. Harold Morrow is into the game as the running back, and the Culpepper sprinting out, looking, and it looks like he wants to get a score, and he gets upended.
Good tackle. That was a nice tackle by Darren Perry.
Feeling very feisty is Culpepper here in this game.
Well, he faked. He's going to go to the outside on Randy Moss with Molden. Didn't like what he saw out there. See, to the top side. He pulled it down. Then he came back, and he saw there was coverage down there to Chris Carter. And then what the heck, tuck it away. But that's a good tackle by Perry because he had to square up on him and give him a two-way go. But he took him right down the middle and took him out.
Culpepper with his longest run from scrimmage this year, 30 yards. That was his 51 yards that he has right now. So with 3rd down and goal, the Vikings call a timeout. It is their 2nd of the half. We'll be right back with the score 27-10 in favor of the Minnesota Vikings.
And your business to the next level by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. And by Ameritrade. It's how you get somewhere on Wall Street.
Great to be able to come to a game and look the way you want to look, wear whatever you want to look.
You could say it. Look like an idiot and still get away with it.
Timeout called by the Vikings. They have one left and setting up a 3rd and goal at the 2. And Minnesota on the verge of passing the 400-yard mark in this game. And here is Robert Smith. Touchdown, Vikings. So there they are, the team of Moss, Carter, Smith, and Culpepper, who runs it all, his 2nd career postseason touchdown, as the Vikings burn the Saints following the interception by Robert Tate and have opened up a 33-10 lead.
Nicely done. See that start? They're going to start inside and then come back to the outside. What they're trying to do is they're going to try to get you to flow one way and then come back the other. Watch how he starts this way and then comes back as we look at Cam. They're just nicely done. Well conceived and carried out perfectly.
Gary Anderson with the extra point, and the kick is good. So the Minnesota Vikings, going against a tough defensive unit, have scored the most points of the season. 34-10 lead by the Vikings, and we talked about how Minnesota losing those last 3 games, but they faced Brett Favre, and they faced Kurt Warner and Peyton Manning. Today it's Aaron Brooks, who's inexperienced.
Yeah, and I think some other things also, Dick. I think the fact that their defense changed up, I think that made a big difference. I really do. I think Emmett Thomas has done himself a nice job. He's changed. He's blitzed. He hasn't sat back in that soft cover 2. I think that's made a big difference in today's football game. And then, you got the big plays from Randy Moss, which has broken their back.
And, of course, Denny Green, whose Vikings always have done well before and after bye weeks, especially after the week off. And it looked like the Vikings got healthy as far as Culpepper, Corey Stringer, and Mitch Berger. And they came as if it were a new season, without question. Brett McAfee returning for the Saints. And McAfee out to the 29-yard line. In just 15 days, the old Madden team returns, and then the biggest question of the new year will be answered with the unveiling of the blockbuster 18 and great. 4 meals a day. And one of the Vikings is shaken up, and that's Robert Tate. And they're going to come out and tend to him. Tate, who intercepted the pass on the last drive, and the Vikings ultimately scoring.
Looks like he's cramping up a little bit. You know, once the officials stop the clock, you have to leave for at least one play.
Orlando Thomas had cramps earlier and then had a strained hamstring and had to come out of the game. So Antonio Banks replaces Robert Tate. First down for the Saints on their 29-yard line. And the pass is knocked down. Good defensive play that time by Keith Thibodeau on the throw intended for Jake Reed.
This defense needed a game like this to get a little bit of confidence back. They needed to be able to slow somebody down. If you look at the, Philadelphia and New York, and you look at them and how they match up, they match up pretty well. This Viking offense, if they can score points and get this type of defensive play, they have a great shot.
And Willie Jackson with the reception short of the first down. The forward progress will bring him to less than a yard with Dwayne Rudd, who has had an outstanding game at linebacker.
I think he always plays pretty good, that Dwayne Rudd. His greatest asset is his speed. He's a good, intense guy, but he really flies to the football.
So the hurry up, and that's all the Saints can do. Missing their last 6 third-down conversions. They need only one. Aaron Brooks with the pass nearly intercepted. It was intended for Jackson, and Waswa Sirwanga had the best shot at it.
Good zone coverage. Very well done.
So they'll go for it on 4th and down, 4th and 1, trailing 34-10.
Well, you look at Homie and say, it's obvious why they have to do it. They're down by 24 points. They have to score now. So everything is score down territory.
And the pass to Morton, that'll be good enough for the first down as Morton is stopped at the 44-yard line by Dwayne Rudd. But the clock continues to run, and the Vikings with 34 points, that's their season's high, leading 34-10. Loser goes home, and the winner will move on to the NFC Championship game next Sunday on Fox against the winner of the Eagles-Giants matchup. Comes your way tomorrow afternoon. Brooks going underneath again for Willie Jackson. They haven't taken many shots today.
No, well, and the coverage is dictating that, Dick, because they're not going to let you take a shot down the field. Now, sometimes, if you have great speed, you can take that shot no matter what coverage is. That's Randy Moss. And you can even take a shot when you're trying to protect deep, which they did twice. But here they don't have a Randy Moss, so you're forced to take what the defense is going to give you, which is just underneath stuff.
Second down and 5. Here's Morton. And Morton is driven back, but his forward progress will be into Viking territory at the 48 with Sirwanga making the tackle.
Now this is what they're doing right now, as you can see. You have your 2 deep here, then you're going 5 underneath there. So that gives you, the 4 rushers. They're not going to give you anything down here. They're going to force you to throw it back underneath.
So 3rd down and 1. This crowd enjoying the day as the Vikings have never trailed, scoring on the 3rd play of the first drive of the game, 7-0, and they've never looked back. And the Saints calling a timeout with 8:22 to go in the 4th.
And you look at it and you go, I know we can do this again. I just think it's tough.
3rd down and 1. This is a 2-down situation, but they won't need the 2 as Willie Jackson underneath gets the first down to the Viking 42-yard line. Again, the hurry up for the Saints, and Aaron Brooks, who was a 4th-round draft pick and was the number 3 quarterback last year at Green Bay. behind Brett Favre and Don Hasselbeck. Here's the quarterback draw as Brooks calls his own number. We didn't really see him scamper much today.
No, I think that's a credit to that to the Viking defense. The biggest thing there was I think their coverage. He just couldn't get rid of the ball. Actually go back to this whole thing. Dennis Green has had a fantastic year. Maybe doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. Remember at the start of the season, a lot of people, including myself, thought they were going to crash and burn.
Many people picked them to finish last in their division. First down, and the pass to Chad Morton. Morton with some nifty moves, and is finally nailed at the 21-yard line, and another first down. That was Fernando Smith downfield, and a pickup of 13 yards. And again, they had Jeff George last year, and they decided to go with really a rookie. He didn't play last year, and Daunte Culpepper leads the team to 7-0 en route to where they are now. But the defense is where the Vikings really have impressed today. First down at the 21. This low toss is caught by Keith Poole, and Poole picking up about 6.
Well, look at this. He needs 4 scores. And you have 6.5 minutes here. You have to score here. Get an onside kick probably. You get another score. You get another onside
kick. You say get an onside kick like you have that automatic.
Well, what happened? St. Louis did it last week. It can be done.
And an interception, and that is Kylie Wong with the pick. And now we'll just put away the story of onside kicks for a while.
Well, that is that's almost perfect, Dick, because the defense, which had been much maligned all season, particularly at the end of the season, today in this game, the defense played fantastic.
There's only one game in which the Vikings allowed fewer points than they have right now, and that is second game of the year against the Miami Dolphins when they prevailed 13-7.
Well, and then again, it's just sitting in the zone, and he never really saw him. He couldn't have seen him. If he saw him, then he was thinking he was the intended receiver. Tried to sneak one inside, and Kylie Wong was just sitting.
Second interception by the Minnesota Vikings, and well-deserved jubilation by a maligned defensive unit as they get the ball back over to the offense, and you can expect the Vikings to eat up the clock, meaning Robert Smith, and he gets the call on first down. And Norman Hand making the tackle.
Well, it's a great feeling on the sideline when you know you're moving on. And you just start playing that next week, and all of a sudden you start thinking about that giant Philadelphia game tomorrow and how you match up and what you can do, and you start to think who you're going against, and all those things start to go through your mind, because it's the greatest feeling, because you're still in it. On the other side, it's a horrible feeling, because in this league there's only one successful team a year, and everything you've done to get to this point, you have to do it all over again just to get to the same point again next week.
Second down and 8. Here is Robert Smith again. So the Vikings appear to be getting into the same position that they've known in recent years. Just a couple of years ago in the NFC Championship game, Gary Anderson missed a 38-yarder, the only miss of the year. And then in overtime, Morton Anderson won it with his field goal. A heartbreaking loss, but go back to 19 Vikings in NFC Championship games. And they're going to try to reverse it, but they'll have that opportunity. It'll be third down and 5 at the 16 as we wind down to 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Here is Daunte Culpepper, and there is Chris Carter, and he needed to get by one more man.
He hasn't forgotten about Jim Haslett over there, has he? He's going to work that thing all day long. Hey, watch Chris Carter on the outside. Mathis is going to turn him over back to the inside. Watch how he works the defender. Sets him up, gets him off balance, and now breaks down to the inside where that safety's sitting. And it's just a matter of getting to the open spot. But it all starts with the knowledge and understanding of the guy across from you, and he does that so well.
Darren Perry made the stop, but Carter having a whale of a game. 8 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown reception. First down at the 39-yard line, and here is Robert Smith. And in a day in which Smith was not able to run wild against this New Orleans defense, many people thought that would be the barometer of this game, but it wasn't, because the Vikings clicked with big plays on offense, and their defense played maybe their best game of the season.
I don't think there's any question it was their best game. And it's the right time to be playing your best game defensively. Because confidence is a curious thing in this league. Confidence can take you to places you haven't been. You start to believe that you can do it. Guys play that much better. They'll need that much better effort in the championship game.
The Saints will call a timeout. We'll come back with 3:36 left in the fourth. 3 minutes, 36 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The Minnesota Vikings in command, leading 34-10. They led 17-3 at the half and have gone on from there and have totally dominated in the second half. Daunte Culpepper with 3 touchdown passes today, 2 of them to Randy Moss and 1 to Chris Carter. 2nd and 10 at the 39-yard line. And Culpepper going up on top, and the pass incomplete, intended for Matt Hatchett. And that will bring up 3rd down.
That's interesting because they're dropping their safeties down, trying to get the extra run defender to take it away in the running game when Robert Smith does run in. And Culpepper hasn't deviated from what they've been doing. I mean, he's just going to say, okay, you drop that guy down, I'm going to take a shot outside.
There is Chris Carter, who has his 2nd career postseason 100-yard game, 8 catches, 120 yards, and a score. Randy Moss also going over 100. Only 2 catches for 121.
When you look at what this Viking team is about, they match up well with the 2 remaining teams.
3rd down and 10, and pass intended for Johnny McWilliams incomplete. Now the thing is, if the Giants defeat the Eagles tomorrow, the Vikings will have to go to Giants Stadium in the cold to play there. And if the Eagles win, then the Vikings will be the home team against Philadelphia.
Now, both of those defenses present different things. And so the Philadelphia Eagles, they'll give you a lot of different looks. And they'll give you pressure looks. And they'll take chances. And they have 2 good corners on the outside. But even with those 2 good corners, you're still going to need help with Randy Moss deep down the field. I think they'll be able to match up pretty good with Chris Carter. But the speed of Moss, and that he's a game changer.
So it is 4th down. And Berger will kick. McAfee. Now Chad Morton back deep. Morton is hit at the 33-yard line. Morton slow getting up. Well, my friend, you're going to be missed if it is indeed the case, more than you know. Matt Millen may be heading to greener pastures, and Matt, we have the game ball signed by everybody for you, because after 7 years, the one thing I will say to you, Matt, that the highest compliment anyone can pay is you are authentic, and that's what you are, my friend. And everyone on our crew feels that way about you. We love working with you, if indeed this is our finale.
Well, sometimes you have to move on to bluer or greener pastures, and sometimes that happens. And if they do, I appreciate it very much, Steve.
Thanks.
It's been a blast.
Honolulu Blue pastures, perhaps. Here is Aaron Brooks, and the pass to Chad Morton as the clock winds down to 3 minutes to go in this 4th quarter. And of course, Richie Zients, the producer, and Artie Kempner, director, actually worked with you 2 years before I joined your team. Really, thank you. You have really made their lives pleasurable, to say the least.
I think miserable is the word you were looking for.
Here is Chad Morton up the middle and gets first down into Viking territory. And you know, not all of the high water marks belong to the Vikings. Chad Morton setting a playoff record for most receptions in a game. Look at that company: Kellen Winslow, Thurman Thomas, and Shannon Sharp. 2:29 remaining, and the pass downfield caught by Willie Jackson, and Jackson to the 15, to the 10, and he's going to score for the Saints. A 48-yard touchdown pass. Aaron Brooks hitting Willie Jackson. Robert Griffith missed the tackle. And so Aaron Brooks with his 2nd touchdown pass of the game, making it a little more respectable with 2:19 to play.
Well, they finally found the hole in the zone, Dick, because they were just sitting down inside. They got to the middle, a place where they haven't been able to get to all season long. And there was just a good job of running. But pick up a nice block by Keith Poole on the outside to let him get to the edge and make that score.
And they're going to go for the 2-point conversion, as you see Jackson, who tied Jerry Rice's record last week with 3 touchdown catches in a postseason game. They're going to go for 2, and then what, Matt? We can say it now. Right? Onside kick.
You can say the onside kick. This turns it into a 3-score game if they can get this.
Brooks' pass, and Jake Reed can't hold on to it, and it was Tyrone Carter on the defense. So the Saints will settle for 6 now, and the Vikings leading 34-16 with 2:19 to go. And you know, this game brought together the owners of the two teams who are old friends. And we're talking about Red McCombs and Tom Benson. And they both sold cars from lots in San Antonio back in the 1950s. They were competitors then. McCombs first met Benson after arriving in San Antonio in 1958. They have been good friends in one line of work and now remain good friends, but competitors today in another line of work.
Well, and both of them have excellent teams, and both of them have good young players in the teams and stuff to build with. Daunte Culpepper on one side, Jim has it with that young group of offensive linemen, defensive linemen there. Both these teams are going to be right back here again in the playoffs next year.
And for the Saints, you know, as you mentioned, Matt, it's always a disappointment when you go out, but this New Orleans club probably obviously went farther than anyone had anticipated, and perhaps the injuries, the multitude of injuries, finally caught up with them today. I mean, all of the skilled positions, so forth, but
Dick, the key to me though is they got better every week, and a team that keeps improving, that's indicative of a lot of things. That to me, that goes back to that coaching staff.
Two kickers, Toby Goen and Doug Bryan, are both out there, and one of them on a crisscross situation will execute the onside kick. And it's going to be Toby Goen. Remember, it has to go 10 yards. And I'm not sure it did.
It didn't go 10 yards. I could see that from here, but it may have hit somebody before it went out of bounds. They went for that 2-point conversion. If they'd have gotten it, they would have had themselves they had a shot at just a 2-score game.
To tie the game.
To tie it.
Now they need 3 scores with 2:16 to go. The Saints with 1 timeout left.
They have offsetting, it looks like.
Offside, 28. The receiving team. Kickoff out of bounds. On the kicking team, those penalties will offset. We'll re-kick the first short free kick.
So they'll kick it again as Ricky Williams, and the big question all week long, would Ricky Williams be available? And a couple of weeks ago it looked like there was no chance of having surgery to his broken ankle less than 2 months ago, and then the injury situation to Daunte Culpepper. And both came back in action. Culpepper, though, very impressive today with 3 touchdown passes. And now the re-kick. And again, the onside kick with O'Brien and Goen. And it's Goen again. And this one is recovered by Willie Jackson of the Saints.
So you can't advance it, so it'll be where he caught it.
So he gets the onside kick.
So they're going to have to make a determination whether or not he caught it before 10 yards or after. If he caught it beyond 10, it's good. If he caught it before 10, it's not good. And there is a flag down.
There's a flag down. Very close, though.
Yeah, touching before.
Illegal touching of a free kick. Number 88 of the kicking team.
Oh, great call.
yards, 5-yard penalty, and re-kick.
Just inside that line, and if it had been at that line, it would have been 10 yards.
That's a pretty definitive look from our camera crew, who've done a great job all season long. We were sitting right down that line, so you got a bird's eye view.
So 2:11 remaining. And right now, I think the Vikings are on to the Saints having 2 of their kickers on the field.
What maybe they figured it out. What do you think? Just a hunch, huh? Hunchy Hortismeyer.
Former Lion, I might add. So here is Toby Goen and Doug Bryan again. So far, Goen has been doing the onside kicking duties. And this time, Bryan. But there are no Saints there, and only Vikings, and there's another penalty marker down. So that one was fielded by Matthew Hatchett. 2:04 to go, and we had 3 onside kick attempts. This is an offsides penalty against the Saints.
Offside, 23, kicking team, penalties decline. First down.
So the Vikings have a first down, and Bubby Brister will come in at quarterback, but our chance now to thank what we feel is a tremendous crew, as good as you'll find on network television in any sport. Today's game produced by Richie Zients and directed by Artie Kempner. Another great year with those guys. The associate director, Greg Scopatoni, and our broadcast associates, Jacob Ullman and Josh Weingrad. The technical producer, Dean Walker, and that great crew you were talking about moments ago. And Richie Basili, Jeff Cohn, audio, Richie Basili, our technical director. The pregame show produced by Scott Ackerson and directed by Bob Levy. The senior producer, Bill Brown, and the executive producers of Fox Sports, Ed Gorin and David Hill. And let's not forget Derek Manning, another associate producer, and the great job that he has done. And thanks to our people in the booth, Chris Visser, our spotter, Dave Corris, our statistician, our 2-minute for a touchdown in a day in which the Saints did as well as they could in defending against the great running back.
Yeah, they did. You know, it's an interesting thing about this Minnesota Viking team. Every time I hear a team say, well, we got to get some big plays, that bothers me, because you can't game plan big plays. But with that man right there, I really believe you can count on him with this offense. Seemingly every week, Randy Moss comes up with a big play that results in a score.
And the Bubby Brister handing off to Harold Morrow for a couple of yards. Coming up on the Southwest Airlines postgame show, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have divisional playoff highlights and analysis. And the Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up next on the Southwest Airlines post-game show.
I think our pregame show, I don't think there's any better. And I think they hit a home run today. JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris, as usual, right on the money. And I also think that our Fox crews universally are not even close to what's out there. You watch a lot of different games. And you can see we have coverage that other places don't have. I think the Fox people are the best.
There's Morrow again, and
heck, he faked himself right out. That's the first time I've ever seen a guy fake himself out of his own jock right there.
So to speak.
He knew it too.
Robert Smith enjoyed that one.
Don't think we're the only ones. Look at this. You go, ooh, that was
ugly.
Yeah.
That's ugly.
They'll hear about it this week. Look at this. Here's the fake, and I fake myself right out.
So it is fourth down, and Mitch Berger coming on to kick it away. And don't you think Morrow's going to hear about that after the game?
Absolutely. Yeah, it looked like that was something bad there. Guarantee he hears about it this week.
You think Morrow want to get away? You've seen that commercial. Here's the kick by Berger, and it will go into the end zone for a touchback with 22 seconds remaining. Well, before we bid adieu to the New Orleans Saints, they did something no other team did in their history, and they came in history last week against the Rams. The trail runs out for them today, Matt, but they've got a future. And when you consider all of the injuries to key people, this team, to say overachieved is an understatement.
Well, they just started the trail. This team's going to be around for a while.
Chad Morton on the run, and they've got a good head man. And still around is Dennis Green, who is going to move on. The Minnesota Vikings, the number 2 seed, will advance to the NFC Championship game for the 8th time in team history, like to reverse the events of 2 years ago when they lost to the Falcons in overtime here. But the Minnesota Vikings have moved on as they have defeated the Saints, and Carter and Haslett shake hands when it's all over. The final score here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis: the Minnesota Vikings 34 and the New Orleans Saints 16. And right now, let's go down to Pam Oliver, who's with Dennis Green.
All right, Dick, thanks a lot. Dennis Green, losing your last 3 games of the regular season is indicative of nothing where this team is concerned.
Well, it's a new season for us. We said that right from the start. We didn't like what happened, but I'm not known for going to get mad at our football team. We have good energy, good synergy. We understand each other. I think we know what it's going to take. We got our offense going today, and we felt along our defense could play better.
You could be going on to New York, or they could be here, but still, you're back in the NFC Championship game.
You know, we're not going to be concerned about where we play at all. I mean, we just know this. We want to play football. We feel real good and confident about our team, whether we play here on the road. We've always felt we could play on the road. We also felt we could play in any conditions.
And your quarterback?
Well, Daunte was fabulous. So he starts it off with a great throw to Randy Moss. And I think Daunte was really solid. He worked so hard to rehab. And then Randy Moss, I mean, most people, if you didn't see the Thanksgiving game 3 years ago, that's what a 4-1-5 looks like.
All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks, Coach. Back upstairs to Dick.
All right, Pam, thank you very much. So the Vikings give up their second fewest points and score the most points that they did all year. And we want to remind you that the Southwest Airlines post-game show will be coming up shortly. So the Vikings advance, eliminating the Saints 34-16. And when we come back, we'll be joined by our outstanding crew in our studios in Los Angeles.